It is standing room only today, over 70,000. Almost everyone has settled in. Some fans still finding their way to the stadium for what should be a heated 3.5 hours of college football. And as I mentioned earlier, they've been playing for over 100 years. Recently, the rivalry has switched into the hands of Iowa State, as Al talked about, winning in Ames and winning here. Iowa had dominated the series under Hayden Fry. And the weather, you can't find a better day on the planet. Here in Iowa, the temperature hovering around 70 degrees, low humidity, mostly sunny. It's been all that way almost the entire week. Should be a great morning and afternoon for the game. And McCarney not only played here in Iowa, he coached at Iowa and had some big moments, some big memories, including a win over Nebraska as one of the assistant coaches of the Hawks under Hayden Fry. On the other side, Kirk Ferentz needs his team to get a victory today and says we're battling for our lives, and a win this morning and afternoon should get us on track, perhaps, with Nebraska looming and some other big heavyweights. Obviously, this is one of the games on the schedule the Hawks have a chance to win, and they need to.
Yeah, they do. I mean, when you look at their situation, they have to get a victory going into that Big Ten schedule. It's tough. So they have to get one right now and get that momentum back on their side.
Not much bulletin board material between the two teams, but they don't need much. They've been excited about this game for some time, and quarterback Mullen and the Hawks believe that maybe today was when they get things going. If not, it'll be a very, very long season for the Iowa Hawkeyes, who again stand at 0-2.
You mentioned about Scott Mullen. Scott Mullen, as well as his numbers have been passing, he hasn't won a game yet. So it's very important for him just to get for the team as well to have confidence in his leadership. They have to get a victory.
The feeling is Iowa's had chances, but lack of confidence, not winning games, has allowed them to go away from the system and has certainly led to a lot of doubts. Iowa State, meanwhile, 2 wins already this year and another chance at a 3-0 start like last season.
I'll tell you what, you can sense the electricity and atmosphere. And these fans are ready to play. This is going to be fun, folks.
And the Hawks will get the football first. Khalil Hill in his own end zone and will bring it out. And the throw past the 20-yard line. There is a penalty flag on the play. More often than not, it's against the team receiving the football. But we shall wait and see.
Well, these are the kind of things that the coaches felt on Iowa. They have to win. They feel they have to win the special teams this week.
It is indeed holding against Iowa, and so Al, already a hole for the Hawks, and a look.
You watch from the left side here. You're going to see someone get held, drop down right there.
Holding on the receiving team.
10-yard
penalty from the end of the run. Be first down.
Our referee today is John Bible, Bob Holliday, David Alexander, Rusty Weir, Mark Johnson, Dwayne Osborne, and Greg Burks make up the crew that will call today's game. So Iowa starting 10 more yards deeper than they would prefer. And play action on the very first play. Fumble. Hawks pick it up. There'll be a loss on the play. And the Red Storm attacking already, Al.
Yeah, that's when you get that pressure coming in from that side. You know, you got to protect on the line of scrimmage. And you're going to see the big fella, Mr. Hayward, coming from the left side. Reggie Hayward, number 15. He's a big pass rusher. He had 2 sacks last week. So they got to get him blocked.
He is the force on the front line. Hayward at 6'5", 256 pounds. So already 2 Iowa mistakes just in the opening minutes. They'll give it to Betts, trying to run left tackle for a modest gain, setting up 3rd and long. Let us take a look at the Advance Auto Parts starting lineups. And we begin with the team that has the football first, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Scott Mullen's percentage is strong so far, but still looking for that first win. Kevin Casper, good possession receiver. He will have his hands on the ball on occasion. And up front, A.J. Blazik with a number of consecutive starts. Still a young lineup, but the good thing about the offensive line now seems to be getting healthier.
Yes, it is. Finally you're getting some guys playing together, and that cohesion will help them out as the season goes on.
Let's see if it can protect on a passing situation on third down. Mullins got some time, got a receiver, but overshot Casper at the 23-yard line. That would have been good enough for first down, and instead the Hawks give up the ball 3 and out.
Well, Scott looked very uncomfortable in the pocket that time. It looked like he was trying to aim the ball to Casper instead of just throw and use his technique. And maybe that happened from getting pressured in that very first play. A play-action play, I'm sure they were looking downfield to hit a big play immediately on Iowa State because they have problems with the deep ball.
You may see Khalil Hill in that deep situation from time to time. But on the opening possession, Iowa State's defense holds serve. And now Iowa State gets the ball. And what should be excellent field position. But before that happens, perhaps another Hawkeye mistake, and for a team that can ill afford any problems they're already mounting in this game.
Boy, you're talking about mental mistakes. They're at home. I mean, they should be, if anyone should be comfortable, it should be them. And you don't want to have this happen, especially you're 0-2.
Before the snap, delay of game on the defense for attempting to make the offensive team false start.
Well, in fact, it's against Iowa State, so a little more room for the punter, Jason Baker.
That's a new rule they put in this year. You can't flinch to try to draw the offensive side off, you draw the offense offside. So that's a new rule they just put in this year. So, you can't see the guys. Remember in the past, you see someone flinching their arm to see if they can draw them. You can't do that anymore. They'll call that penalty.
Iowa State was celebrating, but in fact, it's 5 yards against them. Does not negate the punt. J.J. Moses is deep in his own territory. Makes the catch, and he got hammered. Oh, what a punch.
Oh, my goodness. What a hit.
Danny Sapp just sapped the energy out of Moses with that one.
Oh, my goodness. Danny Sapp. I was watching him running down on there. He was a gunner. And, boy, did he put some bullets into this guy here with the hit. Bang.
The gunner hit his target.
Wow. What a hit. See, those are the kind of things you need to have good, get the crowd into the game. You can see people into it now. And that can get your defense fired up, too.
Let's see how they respond as Sage Rosenfels goes to work for the first time for the Cyclones. And an end around's got some room. And it's going to be a foot race, perhaps to the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa State. On the very first offensive play, J.J. Moses.
Wow. You know what? You can tell the confidence between the two teams. Now, the guy who made the mistake is Andy Kaufman, number 54, the defensive end. He's supposed to have contained, and he was trying to get that big play on the first down there, and he should have had contained on Moses, and there was no one outside to contain. And as you can see here, Moses has great foot speed, and he can make people miss as well.
Did a great job of cutting back to get the last 10 yards for the touchdown, and the folks from Ames, Iowa, electrified by the 58-yard run for touchdown. What a beginning for Iowa State.
The mental mistakes you talked about. Mental mistakes early. First we saw special teams, then we saw offensive line broke down, and now we see on defense. Iowa can't afford that.
Just 2 minutes into the first quarter. J.J. Moses lights up the scoreboard. Iowa State strikes first, 7-0. A 54-yard touchdown run and extra point. Iowa State leads Iowa 7-0. Spectacular start for the visitors from just 2 hours away here in the state of Iowa. Let's see if Hill can get some of it back. Breaks one tackle. Past the 25 and past the 30. Good run by Khalil Hill.
Well, as a defensive end, a former defensive end, one thing you're taught that you got to get up the field. And watch Aaron Campman right there. He didn't get up the field, and he left a big running lane for Moses there. That's a big key for defensive ends. You have to get up there, or else this is going to happen. Put a lot of pressure on your secondary. And when you have a guy with that kind of running skills, it's tough to stop him.
Love Moses splitting the defenders when he cut back upfield there to get the last 10 yards he needed.
Yep.
Iowa could use an answer, and Mullen may be checking off on their second possession. The first one was 3 and out. Iowa fumbles the ball and actually gets a couple of yards, but boy, the problems continue for the home team. Let's take a look at the Iowa State defense, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Reggie Hayward, we've called his number and name already. 19 tackles. Ab Turner, the finance manager, putting together some pretty good numbers so far this year. And in the secondary, Jamarcus Powers hurt himself here last year, tore some ankle ligaments, then got a medical redshirt, so he's been waiting for this game only for a whole year, Al.
I'll tell you what, it's college football is exciting, and the kids love playing.
We've had an exciting start to this game. Dangerous pass on the flat is caught by Casper. That could have been picked off by Powers and run back.
Yeah, you can't let that ball hang out there. Scott threw a very dangerous pass. That ball has to be quick. Watch that ball hanging out there. Powers almost went the distance. You're talking about that could have been another easy score. You have to be careful when you're throwing that ball out there with a good corner like that. You better throw it quick.
Another half second and Powers would be gone, and ISU would be up by 2 scores. Instead, 3rd and 3.5 minutes into the opening quarter with a terrific start. Mullen again appearing to be checking off and rolling and shooting for the first down. Good safe pass to Casper, the possession receiver, and he'll move the chains.
Well, I tell you what, you know, Iowa, they need to get on the board. They need to get this game back even in a hurry, because right now you're talking about a team that's 2-0, Iowa State. They have a lot of confidence right now. Iowa's really searching for their identity offensively. They need to get a good balance, good running game as well as passing game. They have to start running this football. Get it in Bet's hands, let him do his damn.
Which is what we talked about in the beginning, and which is something that coaches have been talking about all week. High formation backfield on 1st and 10 as they approach midfield. Mullen again looking for play action. Got a man wide open. It's Casper once again. And Casper dragging the defender Powers inside the 40-yard line. So Kevin Casper is getting himself loose early in this game.
You know, Kevin Casper, he just runs a nice out. As you'll see him, he's in the slot, puts a nice move in there, and they pick the defensive back actually with their own man. And that's what you do. A lot of times when you're lined up in that slot, you run a little crossing between the 2 receivers, and a lot of times that can happen. Nice play.
And that allowed the senior from Hinsdale South to get open. So the answer to the J.J. Moses touchdown run has been 2 first downs. And they give up the middle, a little bit of misdirection approach. And a good gain for Jeremy Allen inside the 35. The thing the coaches say about Allen is the fact he's a smart kid on and off the field.
Yes, he is. He has a track background. He throws a discus there, and he looked like a discus spinning around right there. But they love him. I mean, he can do it all. He can block, he can catch, and he can run, as you can see there. And that's the nice thing you want for your fullback, to be multidimensional.
Putting together a 3.6 grade average. That's strong. And Iowa right now putting together a good-looking drive, trying to answer the first score of the game. Mullen will give to the second man. There's a lot of room. Allen still going inside, or Betts still going inside the 10, down to the 7.
Hey, you know what? Everyone's been talking about where's the running game. What did we talk about? The offensive line. As you're going to see here, a draw play there. Nice blocking on the inside by the offensive line. They've been much maligned the past few weeks, and this is something they needed to get some good confidence. Ladell Betts, he shows you what he can do when you give him a little crack. He's going to make some damage in that defense.
24 yards for Betts, averaging a little bit more than 3 a game. That's improved dramatically, 3 a carry. And now on 1st and goal, Iowa with a chance to tie the game. It's Betts again, trying to run left. Broke 1 tackle, almost broke a second. Inside the 5, Ladell Betts starting to feel a little bit better about his game now.
Hey, I tell you what, he's only gained 100 yards, but this was all Ladell Betts on this play. You'll see he's going to take some hits early on this, another sprint, like delayed draw, and he just fights off the defenders there. Nice cutback. He keeps his feet moving. Look at that. Yes, he's dragging people, he's pushing people off, and that's the type of thing you need to see. You need to see that. It establishes a physical dominance on your side of the football.
We're already seeing more touches, which the coaches advertised for this game for Liddell Betts, who now goes in motion. Mullen on second down, rolls to the right, looking for Casper. Touchdown, Iowa.
Boy, oh boy, this is going to be a game.
Hey, I love the beginning of this.
Oh my goodness, I tell you what, this shows you a lot about Iowa. They come right back. Nice little roll out there, makes it an easy throw for Scott Mullen. And it was basically the same play we saw earlier out in the middle of the field. They had him in the slot. This guy catches everything. Kevin Casper, he has great hands.
Well, you mentioned the lack of confidence for the Hawks. It's not showing right now. They needed a scoring drive to answer the big play from Iowa State. It did just that. And blonde-haired Casper has tied the game, or can tie it with his extra point. In just a little more than 5.5 minutes, we are tied at 7. And 70,000 have already seen a lot of activity here at Kinnick Stadium. After the Cyclone touchdown, the Hawkeyes offense did not flinch. Marched right down the field. Tied his football game. Kevin Casper enjoying the moment with a TD reception that evened the game at 7. Jim Barber, Al Harris, and Chris Miller. We've had a wonderful start to this Saturday morning afternoon of college football. Deep ball headed to Moses, and Moses almost crossed the line. Instead, it will be a touchback. He got some help from one of the other kickoff receivers to make sure he did not get past the goal line. The last scoring drive took only 3.5 minutes, 8 plays, and 66 yards. Well done.
You know, that's what a good running game does. It allows you to get a little more balance. You can throw the ball better. You know, you saw in the first play, Hayward was all over Scott Mullen, but now since they got that running game, now they can't put on their track shoes as defensive linemen. They have to honor the run.
Let's see what Iowa State counters with. On its second possession, a little bit of option. Rosenfels keeps. Rosenfels an open field. First down up near midfield. Sage Rosenfels can run the option and run it well. That he did for a gain of almost 30.
I tell you what, this is what the option does. Now watch this big lane here. Rosenfels always makes the right decisions there. Rosenfels just made a nice decision. What he did was he had a guy, he had that back had to choose, a defensive back. Which guy am I going to get? I'm going to get the quarterback or a running back. I think I would have went for the running back and tried to make the quarterback run because the running backs are a bit faster, but he makes the right decision.
You're right, the quarterback does do that. Doesn't have great foot speed, but has great room for the game and did a great job there with 29 yards. Now a short, safe pass play into Hawkeye territory. Let's take a look at the Advance Auto Parts starting lineups as we present Iowa State on offense for the second time in this football game. Ennis Haywood wears number 2 and has the electrifying speed that Iowa State could use. J.J. Moses has already made an impression on this game with the reverse touchdown run. And Ben Bruns heads the Iowa State front line, 29 career starts and counting. On the delayed handoff. And boy, is there a lot of room to run on both sides today as Haywood carries the football for a first down. Let's check in with the Iowa defense, which has been hit up early. Aaron Campman, Norm Parker says, if this guy becomes a leader on this team, watch out. We're going to get very good. Mike Dolezal already 18 tackles plus with what has happened today. And Tim Dodge tried to track down Moses on that touchdown run and was unsuccessful. Haywood again carrying the ball, tackled past the 30, down to about the 29.
You see on that last play there, Campman, number 54, he pitched down pretty well on that and almost made the play at the line of scrimmage, and that's what got him in trouble before, because he's trying to make sure they can stop that running game. They really respect the running game of Iowa State with Haywood, so he pinched down, but he has to be careful. They might run that reverse on him again if they see him do that.
And if Ennis gets over 100 yards today, that'll be 3 games in a row. Moses is moving around in the backfield. They fake it to him. Rosenfels got a man wide open. And right now, Iowa State moving the football at will against the much maligned Iowa defense.
Yeah, but you might have a holding there. I see a flag. It might be a holding call, I think, on Mike Banks, number 31. We'll have to see, wait and see.
Rosenfels, the quarterback, over to get a ruling.
Holding on the defense on an eligible receiver.
It is holding, but it's against the Hawks. And so the drive rolls on deep into Iowa territory.
Maybe that was holding on Banks. I saw it thrown in the vicinity where Banks was.
So Norm Parker's team backed up again. Let's see if Iowa can make a stand this time. The game tied at 7-7. And a little more than halfway through the opening quarter, which has been a good one so far.
Two rivalries going toe-to-toe. This is exactly what you look for if you're a fan. A lot of excitement. Guys challenging each other's manhood at this point.
There's been a lot of that so far.
Who wants it? Who wants it? That's what they're saying.
I think some of the fans were doing that prior to the game. On the pitch, Haywood trying to run to the far side of the field. Didn't get very far. Might have been stopped for a loss. LeVar Woods was up there, 97, among others.
That was Tim Dodge up there. He was a walk-on, but he's a track man. You think a lot of times track men aren't that physical, but he came up and made a nice tackle.
Loss of a couple on the play, 2nd and 12. Rosenfels will operate with the gun. Iowa showing some blitz. Instead they go on the inside handoff and might have got back to the original line of scrimmage to be 3rd and roughly 10.
That was a nice pinch by Anthony Herron right there. He came, see what they're trying to do. Iowa State primarily likes running in between the tackles and the ends. Now watch Herron come from the top of the screen, 99. He pinches down there, does a good job of moving his feet. What they're trying to do is spread you out and run in between those tackles. And those ends have to close down, but they have to be alert for the reverse.
Anthony Herron very active last year, Al. 5th in tackles for Iowa. It is 3rd and 10. Rosenfels may have an open lane to the end zone. Touchdown! With a little exclamation point to go with it.
I tell you what, Rosenfels has really stirred up this rivalry a lot, and you can tell it means a lot to him, and they have a penalty.
Instead, the play will come back.
Now, see, I talked about the defensive ends pinching down. You see Herron there. There was no one there, but you had holding, I think, on Chris Anthony. Now, watch this. Watch Chris Anthony right here. Now, you got to block, but you can't hold the defender. Oh, yeah, there's a hold. You saw it right around his neck there. And all you had to do was get in front of the guy. I think as big as Rosenfels was, he would have took him in the end zone with him.
Well, sometimes the penalty has nothing to do with the play, but that was painfully obvious. Rosenfels got a clear lane to the end zone. And so now they'll operate with 3rd and 9. Still well in the field goal range, but the touchdown's been taken off the board for the moment. On the straight drop, Rosenfels with a little flare out to the side to Haywood. Haywood still going, not enough for the first down, but inside the 5, it'll be a couple of yards shy, and it'll be 4th down.
See, that penalty, I mean, that hurts you. I mean, here you are. You could have been up 14-7.
Yep.
And, you know, those are the kind of things you have to be smart about. You know that Anthony is trying to make a play. You know he's trying to block. But you got to be smart. You got to get your body in front of him and let the runner, whoever it is, quarterback or running back, let him make the move. That's his job.
Mike McKnight struggled in the opening game against Ohio. Missed one extra point and missed several last year. Had a very strong second game. They'll try to give Iowa State the lead. Cyclones fail to get 7, but they do get 3. Still 5 minutes and 12 seconds to go, and an exciting first quarter. Iowa State ahead for the second time. If you're just joining us, a lot has happened in this football game so far. A long touchdown run for the Cyclones. Iowa with a strong drive to answer, and then a field goal by Mike McKnight. 17 points scored already. Less than 10 minutes. This is Hill around his own 5. And Hill has been very strong on kickoff returns up near the 40. He started with a 24-yard kickoff return, then bumped it to 35, and this one is close to 35 yards again.
Khalil Hill, you got to realize his daddy is J.D. Hill, who was a star at Arizona State and Buffalo Bills. He's running here like a hurdler, like Edwin Moses there, hurdling guys. And I tell you what, he is a threat to go all the way anytime he gets the football. They have to get the ball in that guy's hands.
And I believe they're going to try to today. Besides J.D. Hill, he's got 3 brothers that have played college football as well. Looking for the touchdown to Casper, and just beyond him. Seeing a lot of play action from Scott Mullen already in the first quarter out.
Well, Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, for Iowa, talked about, he says, we have to hit big plays. You know, you're not going to be able to drive the ball steady down against this defense. So we have to hit the big plays. And what's happened is once you get that running game established, they have to respect the run. The corners were up tight pressing, and that allowed Casper to get behind the secondary just a little bit too long on that pass play by Mullen, or else that may have been a touchdown.
And first down, a pretty good down to throw out the play action. Allen with a bit of motion. Betts with the football, trying to cut back and slip. He might have got more than just a couple on the play.
That's one of those plays when your mind tells your body, you go this way, and your body says, say what? His body didn't react as quick as his mind, and I think he was a little frustrated on that one.
So Betts comes out in a passing situation for the Hawkeyes. It is 3rd and 8. Maybe closer to 7. Shotgun formation for quarterback Mullen. Iowa State trying to come with pressure. Instead, Khalil Hill makes the catch, then gets popped. But good enough for an Iowa first down.
You know, Iowa State had a safety blitz coming on right up the middle. But Scott Mullen does a nice job. Watch the safety blitz coming up there. But Mullen does a nice job. He throws right where the safety ain't. And there's Mr. Hill. He almost lost that ball, but that's where you throw the ball, right where the safety disappears. They threw it right in that area.
The free safety, Mark Timmons, put a pretty good pop on him.
Oh, yes, he did.
Have some hard hitters in the Cyclone defense, which again tries to make the stop against Iowa. Betts cutting his way back. Liddell Betts still rambling his way around the 45. Picking up 6 yards on the play, and Liddell Betts is off to a much better start than what we have seen the last 2 weeks.
Well, why is he a much better start? Because of the offensive line. There's nothing wrong with his running. So watch what the line does. They're just knocking people off the ball, getting people down on the ground, and that's what you need to do. Talked about Blazek, Nelson, Cunningham on that side of the ball. I mean, those guys are pushing people off the line now.
Has to be a pretty good sign for Iowa, which has been wondering if they can compete with anybody. Fell behind 24-6 to Western Michigan last week against Kansas State. Showed little offense at times in that game as well. Mullen looking for a man across the middle. Incomplete, intended for Khalil Hill.
Well, you know, they're constantly trying to go across that middle. I guess they feel a lot that Iowa State's going to send a lot of pressure from the outside, and they're going to try to take advantage of that soft middle of that defense.
3rd and 5. What play do you pull out here?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit long for a run. I think you would look for Casper here again. I mean, this guy doesn't drop anything. And he's outflanked wide all by himself right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the ball.
And to the interior side of the field, Hill and Oliver. Mullen looks for a first down. Mullen keeps the football. There will be a penalty flag on the play, which may bring this back.
Oh, that hurts you. You know, you talk about the offensive line. I've been bragging on those guys, how good they're doing, but they had a breakdown.
The fact that Iowa's been able to work with the same guys in the offensive line over the last couple of weeks for Kirk Ferentz has been a positive. In fact, he was applauding the fact that Eric Steinbach actually has had 6 practices almost consecutively.
Yeah, you see, oh, there's the hold right there. They're 50, or James Reed, number 52. And I think it was Eric Steinbach.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It remains 3rd down.
John Bible's crew has spotted a number of holds so far in the first quarter.
Eric Steinbach, number 56, he was in Illinois. He was a great tight end there. They moved him to offensive guard, and he was only like 250, 260 pounds last year, so he's still growing into that big, tall body. He's missed a lot of practices. I think this is only his second full week of practice, so he's a little bit rusty, but they like his future at offensive line.
Ferentz was laughing yesterday, saying, hey, he's put together a string of practices. We're quite thankful for that.
Don't want to be in this situation. Third and very long.
Let's see if Mullen can pick it up. He's shooting for that. But several yards behind Chris Oliver means Iowa will give up the football.
The thing you don't see there, Marcus Powers, number 8, he had a nice bump. See, when you get in front of the receiver and you throw his momentum off, that got him out of his pattern. He has to get those gears going again and get going top speed, and the quarterback's used to the timing, and he made a nice play on that.
We've had a hold in this game, Al, that cost Iowa State a touchdown. Eventually wound up as a field goal, and a hold here for Iowa's offense cost them the football. Jason Baker must kick it away. He has over 200 career punts for the Hawks. A fair catch being called by and Moses probably saying, hey, who hit me?
Well, he got hit last.
My own guy.
Moses got hit last time by Iowa, and this time his own man ran over him. And
it's not supposed to happen that way.
He's going to be thinking twice about it. He said, hey, coach, get me off this punt return team here. You see the fair catch there. What happens a lot of times is the guy's trying to block the runner down there, and he just kind of gets ran over by his own man. He's like,
Ansley ran right into him. Iowa State now back on offense and nowhere to go as the Cyclones try to run to the near side of the field. Big LeVar Woods up there to say hello.
well, LeVar Woods, he's a linebacker. You have a little receiver out there like Moses. He did a great job of breaking down. Moses is only 170 pounds. Woods is 245, so he did a nice job tackling in the open field.
And that leads to a yard loss for Iowa State. 2nd and 11. 10-7 is our score. Cyclones ahead. We're deep into the first quarter. Rosenfels on the pitch as they go near side of the field. And once again, nothing there for Iowa State and its offense.
You know, I was getting on Aaron Campman a little bit earlier for breaking down and contain, but he did a nice job here. Now watch the push 54 Campman. He's just going to blow back Marcel Howard right back into the runner. He slows the whole running play down there. Number 54, Campman, which you talked about, that the defensive coach felt that Norm Parker felt like this guy can help.
The penalty was against Iowa State and obviously declined.
They feel that Campman could, at one of these days, he has the kind of leadership that he can turn this program around. I mean, that's how strongly Norm Parker feels about him.
Norm was talking and comparing him to the likes of a Joe Green, in the sense of once Joe Green became who he was, everybody listened. And if they didn't, he was big enough to do something about it. They'll go with a safe play, nothing close to the first down, and so Iowa State will give it up.
You know, this is something Norm Parker talked about. He said, we have to defend with our front people. We don't want to bring an extra guy in the box because that puts them at a disadvantage in the secondary. Now watch the plays, watch the conversion there. All you see is black shirts, and that's the kind of thing he wants. He wants his front people, without bringing extra safety or defensive back up there, to play that run.
After a great deal of offense to get this game started, things have settled in defensively for the moment. Gomez gets this one off, and Hill will wave everybody off for a fair catch. Iowa will set up shop at its own 28, trailing by a field goal. Here's what's going on in the rest of college football at the shoe today. The Buckeyes trying to make it 3 straight, are leading Miami of Ohio. Illinois has Michigan next week. Today, it's the Cal Bears, and a good start there. Northwestern could be 3-0 heading to Camp Randall next week, but it's early. 7-3 in the West, and Virginia Tech. Some people thought this was going to be a down year with the toughness of their schedule, but Michael Vick's around. And they're doing well so far. More play action for Mullen. Out of bounds, incomplete, 2nd and 10.
You notice the pattern we've seen here. on first down on the start of the series, each time they've went down the field, play action pass, they're trying to hit that big play.
And they could also be setting up the Iowa State defense for something later in the game as well.
Where they feel, you know, it's a lot better. If you're going to throw deep, you want to throw deep on a run down. And
sure.
That's a run down there because everyone has to come up. You get some one-on-one coverages versus guys doubling up on a first down.
Mullen may be changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Gives to Betts, trying to run wide. Liddell Betts, and nothing there. Iowa State doing a good job of containing the running back, and this will be the final play of a pretty exciting first quarter.
Dustin Avey came up there from the outside. He didn't give Betts any running room at all.
Now, nothing disappointing about the rivalry today in the opening quarter. 10-7 after one, Iowa State. Chris Miller, Al Harris, and Jim Barber from sold-out Kinnick Stadium. 10-7 Cyclones. Iowa starts the second quarter trying to keep the drive going. Twin receivers to the far side of the field for quarterback Mullen. He's looking that way, throwing that way. Ball up in the air, incomplete. Intended for Hill, and pretty good defense from Iowa State. Let's take a look at the Buick first quarter stats. Impressive running game for Cyclones, you bet.
Well, it's impressive, but it's kind of deceiving. J.J. Moses has 58 of that, and Rosenfels has 38 of that. So it's not so much from the running backs, but it's from the quarterback and the receiver. So it's a little bit deceiving, but it's still rushing yards, and it has them on top.
That was that big play aspect the coaches of Iowa said we must stay away from. Baker, his second punt of the game, and it's a dandy.
Wow. Wow. Jason Baker, he averages
69 yards on that one.
He averages 44.8 yards a punt, and that ball just looked like it was shot out of a machine. My goodness. That is a weapon there.
So the Hawkeyes go back on defense, trailing by 3, 10-7.
You know, Jason Baker kicked 2 56-yard kicks into the wind last week. 56 into the wind, 2 of them. This guy has a serious.
That's pretty impressive. You would prefer that long kick to have somebody handle it deep in their own territory or let it bounce out of bounds, but that went straight to the end zone. Rosenfels goes straight to the air, incomplete. And a pretty pop put on by Shane Hall after the pass.
I'll tell you what, the Iowa defensive end have to really have their head on a swivel because Iowa State's watching what they do. If they're pinching down for that running game, they're going to do bootlegs, they're going to do options, they're going to do reverses. They're going to make them honor the outside. So Andy Pittman has to really be cautious of being on the outside.
Both defenses starting to control things since that great start on the part of the offenses. On the end around, J.J. Moses, who had that long touchdown run in the first quarter. He's not going anywhere this time. Strung out of bounds, setting up third down for Iowa State.
You know, Campman did the difference. That was they ran it at him again. But the difference this time was, even though Campman didn't catch him, he made Moses keep running outside. He didn't give an option on the corner. Watch Campman, 54. He's pursuing him, and then he has people up there coming up. But see, it's important that he made Moses take that long route instead of coming around the corner in a hurry and taking off upfield.
I was really putting everything on the shoulders of Campman. I think when he becomes the leader that they want, this team will begin to take off. Cyclones on third down, a bit of a delay. It's going to be a first down for Haywood, who split right up the middle across the 30.
See, that's what happens when you pressure the flanks. When you pressure the flanks, you cause the defense to spread out a bit more. They have to make the defensive calls different and make sure they protect on those outside plays. And there's Norm Parker right there, the defensive coordinator. He's a real gruffy, tough guy. Kind of reminds me of my old coach, Buddy Ryan, a bit.
Always a joy to talk to. Never boring. Looks as if he's ready to play on Friday. Yes, or maybe earlier. Rosenfels keeps the football, running toward the Iowa bench on first down.
That was a nice play by Colin Cole there, number 94. He came right down the line and took away that option from Rosenfels. So he did a good job pursuing, and that's what you need on the option. You need the lineman pursuing downfield or pursuing along the line of scrimmage, because you just can't rely on the linebackers and defensive backs to make those plays in the option.
And against that defense, Al, Rosenfels has the 38-yard run you alluded to, and would have had a touchdown run except for the hold that was called on Iowa State. Rosenfels upstairs, almost a spectacular catch made, but it is out of bounds. Chris Anthony made the catch, but not a completed pass.
Boy, he went skywalking on that play. I mean, if Rosenfels kept that in bounds, it would have been a great completion. Watch that, one-handed. That is very nice, but unfortunately, not in bounds.
He's 6'3", looked a little bigger on that play.
Oh, my goodness. What if this guy plays some basketball?
Iowa State had that terrific team last year that made it to the Final 8. On third down, Rosenfels going back to pass, throwing a dangerous pass. Caught! And how did he make the catch?
Well, Ryan Hansen was trying to make a play on the ball, and I think he actually knocked the ball back into Moses' hands. Now watch Hansen, number 14. You can see him in your screen right there. He's going to come up from the outside. Now watch this. He looks like he actually knocks it back into Moses' hands. That's a tough one. I mean, that's one of those ones you'll be thinking for a while as a defensive back.
And you know, J.J. Moses is only 5'6" and made a terrific catch in some very difficult defensive territory. So the drive moves on. And it's Haywood out of Dallas, Texas, who's seen a lot of activity so far, with a strong gain on first down.
Iowa State's really doing a good job of keeping Iowa's defense off balance.
Yes.
You know, they're running reverses, they're running bootleg option type plays. You know, they're throwing downfield, they're throwing outs, they're doing it all. So they're keeping Iowa off balance. Iowa has to make a stop here.
Iowa State trying to improve on its 3-point lead, open the game with a long touchdown run by Moses. And leading 10-7, and Haywood's not going anywhere. The front four, the Hawkeyes, greet him rather rudely. Kevin Durande up there to make the tackle.
Yep. Now watch Durande right there. Mike Gullensell, he makes a nice play, just scrapes around and just plugs the hole, and that's what you need to do. He's their leading tackler.
Setting up a third down play. Anthony Herron in on that last stop along with Dolezal. 3rd and 6. Quick drop, quick throw, incomplete. And Iowa State must give up the ball again, and we are seeing the defensive side of Iowa starting to go to work.
Or Iowa, I tell you what, they're coming up and they're putting some hits on some people. And that's what you need. You need guys playing with a lot of enthusiasm. Actually, that was Craig Campbell. He doubles as a wide receiver, so that's interesting. They have him in the secondary, number 19.
And has forced Iowa State to give up the ball again. Hill will let this one go. Can Iowa State save it? Cannot. So the ball moves back to the 20. Opening minutes in the second quarter from Iowa City, Iowa. A better first half for the Hawkeyes today than in 2 previous weeks. And on 1st and 10, no play action for a change and no gain as well.
That's what happens when you got an all-conference tackle like James Reed coming up there, number 52.
Modest numbers for Scott Mullen, who led a touchdown drive, capped by a score from Kevin Casper. Looking for his first win as a starting quarterback for the Hawkeyes. Iowa has not won since September of 1999. Mullen looks for play action. It's Casper short of the first down, but a good gain on the play, setting up third and short.
You know, I love this Casper kid. I mean, he catches balls everywhere. He'll catch them high. He'll catch them on his knees, like this play right here. Now, the ball's going to be thrown a little bit low by Mullen, but watch them on his knees. Nice catch. I mean, he just has, he's like Fred Biletnikoff, you know, but without the stick-em. And he catches everything thrown his way.
Had a lot of catches last year, ranking in the top 10 of the Big Ten. Ateef Austin was up to make the defensive play on that play. He's matched up now against Khalil Hill on the far side. Mullen looks for a first down, and the storm from the defensive front four, attacking Iowa with his second sack of the game.
That was very impressive, you know, especially third short. And you have Reggie Hayward, number 15, the big angular one, coming from the left side. Now watch Reggie, he just overpowers the blocker there. He just overpowers Porter, 73, and gets his second sack.
We had this great start offensively, but we're settling in here right now for a defensive game.
Tell you what, Hayward keeps playing like this, he's going to be looking at first-team All-American honors.
Averaging a sack a quarter is Baker. Punts to the Iowa State 40. An excellent field position for the Cyclones. 9:55 for the first half. Energetic crowd at Kinnick. Pretty good crowd from Ames, Iowa has made an appearance here in Kinnick Stadium. And as play restarts, Iowa State, excellent field position from its own 43, Al.
Well, when you're midfield right now, you're up by 3. This is a nice chance to go downfield. I mean, you can open the playbook up, and you have a lot of different options here.
Dan McCarney has spent so much time in this stadium, said it was a thrill to get back here yesterday. As his team went through a late afternoon walk through, Haywood finding himself a hole close to the first down for Iowa State. We'd like to take a moment to thank our corporate partners. Kemper Funds, long-term investing in a short-term world. Value City Department Stores and Value City Furniture Stores. Get the home team advantage. And 7-Up, make 7-Up yours. With Al Harris and Chris Miller, Jim Barber at your service today. In an entertaining first half that has settled down in the trenches after a big beginning. Rosenfels faked to Haywood, but he didn't fool anybody.
Well, I tell you what, I guess they're trying to catch those defensive ends pinching down again, but there was no room that time. I'm surprised he didn't hand that ball off. Now watch him, he's just going to, this is a designed run play, but he's contained very well. There was no place to run on that one.
Anthony Herron, the second man to hit him and knock him down. Front four defensively for Iowa, reading 260, 280, 280, and 300 pounds. Haywood gets close to the first down. Let's head down to the sidelines and our friend Chris Miller.
All right, gentlemen, thanks a lot. Last week, the Hawkeyes were embarrassed on this field, giving up 24 points in the first half. Then something happened at halftime because when they came out in the third, Norm Parker and Kirk Ferentz both agreed they played the best defense they've played since they've been here. And if you look in the first half, right now, Iowa's only given up one big play. Guys, back upstairs.
Yes, Chris, I wonder what was said at halftime. Iowa State now into Iowa territory at the 46. 8:20 for the second quarter, and Rosenfels with the fake. He's got a man open. J.J. Moses inside the Iowa 20, and what a first half for number 32.
You know what? Teams that win have difference makers. And that's what J.J. Moses is. I mean, this wasn't the best pass in the world. Rosenfels makes a throw. It's a bit high. Watch the hands. This guy's only 5'6", but he can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's tough. He can take some hits, as we've seen. He can do it all.
Rosenfels found him for 114 yards receiving last week against UNLV. Iowa jumping around on defense. It's the option the quarterback keeps, and the pitch to Haywood. Broke a tackle. And it's going to set up even better field positioning in the red zone for Iowa State, trying to get their second touchdown of the afternoon.
I am very impressed with the offensive coordinator, Steve Mooney, what he's doing with Iowa State's offense. I mean, he really has Iowa off balance defensively. He's throwing all different kind of blows. So usually you think the guy's going to throw one blow and just keep hitting with that same blow till you give up. I mean, he's running inside, he's running outside, he's doing everything. He's attacking down the field.
Seems to really reflect a team that feels good about itself at this point, Al. Trying to win for the third straight week. Simple dive play, and Haywood picks up the first down. It'll be first and goal for Iowa State inside the Hawk 5. And a pretty important part of the game for Iowa, considering that its offense has struggled since the first quarter. Going to need to make a stop and try to hold the Cyclones to without a touchdown.
Oh, this is a big series here for Iowa's defense, because if they can keep them only to a field goal, you still can get back up with a touchdown. So they don't want to get them to get in the end zone.
Short down to work with. Rosenfels keeps the football and struggles down to the 2, maybe the 1-yard line. He's so big, 6'4", 221. He's very capable of leaning over the goal line himself.
Yeah, Roger Meyer came up there, the linebacker. Roger Meyer, number 30, comes up, gets his shoulders there, and keeps that momentum from going into the end zone. Rosenfel's a big cat. I mean, he's 6'4", 221 pounds. You see his rushes there. 44 yards, only 5 carries. Nice all-around game there. Passing, you see his passing yards. He just has tremendous leadership capabilities, and he's competitive as anything.
Said he was raised on a very healthy organic diet.
I tell you what, he wants this rivalry to be like Florida State rivalries. I mean, I think they have a long way to go to get there and have to get national rank and win a championship. But I mean, that's what he wants to see this become, and he's trying his best to do that. Let's
see if he uses his 295-pound setter Ben Bruns to lead the way. Touchdown, Iowa State. Instead of up the middle, a bit of option. And Rosenfels denied a score in the first quarter because of the penalty. Finds the end zone in the second.
Well, you know, I was talking to coaches yesterday. They didn't say he's not that quick feet, but he can get up a little bit. Looks like he's diving off the diving board, trying to do a little flip into the end zone. But he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he always seems to make the right decisions. And he has deceiving speed. I mean, as we've seen, I mean, he had a big run early in the game. He's just very smart. He knows when to pitch and when to keep the ball.
17-point tack down by the visitors. And Iowa State trying to make it 3 straight. Having a good first half on the shoulders of the Rage, Sage Rosenfels. The Iowa Hawkeyes find themselves in a most familiar position, Al, behind.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is a big series for them, because I mean they don't need to panic. They're still right in this game, but they need a nice, good long drive to keep the defense off the field and to get some confidence, get the crowd back into the game. You know, they had the crowd in the game early, but now, you know, this is going to be a big series for them. They don't need any penalties. They need to be crisp and precise in what they're doing offensively.
Take some time off the clock with 6:20 to go and keep Sage Rosenfels off the field. You saw him moments ago relaxing after the second Iowa State score.
Wow, that's very unusual. Penalty before the kickoff.
Don't see that very often, do you? Dan McCarney is not very excited about it either. So Iowa has already picked up 5 yards potentially in this drive, and it means the receivers will all move up a little bit. Fred Russell, Khalil Hill deep. It'll be Russell at his own 20. Past the 25 and up to about the 28. Moments ago, Rosenfels caps a 57-yard drive. Very impressive. It only took 3.5 minutes for their second score of the afternoon. He gets the rest now and see if the Cyclone defense can shut the Hawks down.
as Rosenfels did, Scott Mullen now needs to do for Iowa. He needs to take the bull by the horns and guide this offense down the field. Rosenfels made the plays he needed to make. Now it's Scott's turn.
And it was in the first quarter, Al, that Mullen had an answer for the big play of Iowa State. With a sustained drive. Let's see if he gets one going here. Khalil Hill looking for the first down, getting the first down with 6:05 remaining in the first half, and Iowa down by 10. As for the rest of college football, Ohio State and Miami of Ohio in a defensive struggle. Buckeyes have struggled on offense. We saw that a couple of weeks ago. Still, Illinois' one touchdown is good enough in its game in Champaign, Illinois today. The Cats had the lead. TCU and their Heisman hopeful have gone ahead. And Michael Vick probably has something to do with that 21-0 score. Rutgers came in undefeated today. Couple of tackles broken. And Liddell Betts drags a couple of defenders up close to midfield.
Boy, I tell you what, they were giving this guy a hard time the last couple of weeks about running. It's definitely not his fault. Now, when you're a really good back, you have the ability to make people miss in the hole. Watch that move right there. He just drives through two would-be tacklers there, gets his shoulders on. He gets a couple yards even after contact. Now it's off a big Reggie Hayward right there, number 15, the defensive end.
Which is not easy to do.
Oh, no. And you see why. Don't give up that running game. They're still right in this game right now.
Betts had 64 yards, Al, against Iowa State last year. It's some play action. Iowa's been doing that a lot on first down. It is picked off. And a mistake from Scott Mullen, and Iowa State moves back on offense. And something in this football game, well, Iowa does not need to see.
Well, that happens a lot of times. You keep going back to the same play over and over again. They ran they ran Khalil Hill on an end route, which they had been doing earlier off that play action pass. And this time they had someone waiting in the middle.
That being Adam Runk out of Stillwater, Minnesota. So right now the Cyclones have control of this game and an opportunity to expand a 10-point lead.
Now this is a point where Iowa needs someone on defense to make a play, to get the ball right back and get that short field.
Forcing a turnover would be ideal for the Hawks. Moses goes in motion to the left. Rosenfels throws back the other way. He's wide open.
Oh, boy.
And he one-hopped it to him. Had that pass been completed, he would have run for a while.
I think sometimes when you see a guy so wide open, it's like in basketball. When you're wide open on a jump shot, sometimes you don't go through your mechanics. And, man, that might have been a touchdown right there. Watch Rosenthal does a good fake there. Moses comes on a fake reverse. He's wide open. I think he tried to aim that one a little bit too much. And, boy, Iowa was fortunate on that play.
Montgomery up there to defend, but fortunately for Iowa, nothing happened on the play. Haywood got dragged down, and Montgomery's going to be hit with a penalty. He grabbed him and flung him around and probably got the face mask to go with it.
Ooh, boy, that has to be the full 15 on that.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty. Pretty good tackle, but it's going to be a face mask penalty against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
My goodness, this is dangerous here. I mean, he deserved all 15 yards in this way. Watch this, he doesn't even let go. Wow, you can really get hurt on that play.
Yes.
It's a good thing Hayward has a good, strong neck.
Haywood is okay, but Iowa State. It's 15 more yards into Iowa territory. The Cyclones have found a lot to feel good about so far today.
Yeah, they do. But you know what? If you're Montgomery, I've done that before. I've grabbed the face mask, and once you grab, you got to let go and hope they don't call the penalty. But instinctively, you'll grab it. But he shouldn't have held on like that.
Did you get called for a minute?
In my day. Not too many, but I had a couple.
Some more option from Rosenfels. Decides not to pitch and tuck it in and dive forward. And with that 6'4" frame, he gets a couple of yards.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's one of the things now. Now they can really put Iowa on their heels here with another score, and they have the time on their side. They have the score obviously on their side. They have momentum on their side. They have a lot of good options they can run from here. They can take some chances.
Cyclones get 2 weeks off after this game to prepare for Baylor. Iowa must go to Nebraska. 7 days is not enough for Nebraska. I don't think 7 months would be enough. Haywood with a little toss. Caught. You're right. I mean, this play calling today, most imaginative for Iowa State as they continue to move the football.
Their offense is playing with so much confidence. I mean, that was Mike Banks, the tight end. They call him Manimal. I guess half man, half animal. But I tell you what, watch this catch here. Lofted high, one-handed stab. That's the second time we've seen an Iowa State receiver come down with a one-handed stab like that.
Which part of him caught it, the half man or the half animal?
That might have been I don't know. I'll give the credit to the man.
3:28 to go in the first half, and Iowa State moving strongly here in the first half. Let's take a look at what's on tap, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light, for us brewed to capture a cold, refreshing taste. Tap the Rockies. Nebraska next. That's all Iowa needs, right? And you don't think they'll be looking past them to Indiana, right?
I don't think so. Right now, they're the hands full right here with Iowa State.
Good news for Iowa is Nebraska is exactly where they want them next year, off the schedule. Schedule gets easier next year after a very difficult one for the first 2 years for Kirk Ferentz. Rosenfels changes the plays. Got a man wide open. Guess who it is? J.J. Moses. First down inside the Iowa 10, and Rosenfels and Moses are having a lot of fun playing catch today on the road.
Well, Moses, you could put him on the outside, you put him on the inside. He was in a slot, and he went in between two linebackers, and that's a mistake. You don't want two linebackers covering somebody as dangerous as Moses there. See the two linebackers? See Woods there? Now, Rosenthal he has all the time in the world because they've ran so many different plays effectively. Iowa's on their heels right now defensively.
And the ball officially marked outside the 10. I believe they can still get a first down if they're going to need it. But Haywood got 5 yards on that play. And for Iowa State, the best of all worlds. They're moving the football. They're heading to the Iowa end zone. They're taking time off the clock. And Haywood's numbers at 5 yards a carry are sending them to what could be their third touchdown of the first half.
You know, Dan McCarney, the Iowa State coach, is doing a great job of keeping Iowa off balance right now. He has to feel really good about his team. I mean, they're in just a great rhythm. I mean, when you're in a great rhythm, I'm thinking as a defensive coordinator, I'm seeing them do all these different plays on me. How am I going to defend these guys?
Timeout has been called. 1:51 for the first half. It is all Iowa State for the moment. Iowa used a timeout moments ago and would be wise to use 2 more so that it would allow their offense to get back on the field one more time. It is 2nd and goal to go for Iowa State, and Rosenfels has his team in a groove right now. He'll operate with a shotgun. 1 foot down, ball is fumbled. Rosenfels picks it up, and he's going to be knocked for a loss. And I'm a little surprised right now that Iowa is not using a timeout. They still have a couple remaining.
Sometimes when you drop the ball like that, that throws your offensive rhythm off. And Rosenthal, he doesn't make too many mistakes, but that was kind of a low snap. See, Iowa needs a big stop. They need it right here, right now.
Passing down on 3rd and 11. Now Rosenfels quickly changing the play. And we're going to have a penalty flag on the play, and I don't think he got it off.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
John Bible indicates as well.
Well, a lot of times what they do, they watch and count how many guys are in that box, you know, where the tackle, center, and guard are. They look and see if there's not that many defenders in the box, they're going to run the ball. If they see more guys and they can block, they're going to throw the ball. So Iowa gave him a good look and kind of came in like they had extra guys in that box and moved the guy out, and he audible, but it was too late.
Well, at one point it was 2nd and goal to go from the 5. Iowa State going the wrong way. Under 50 seconds for the first half. Rosenfels looking across the middle and almost got picked. And that'll stop the clock with 43 seconds to go, forcing an Iowa State field goal and perhaps an opportunity for Iowa's offense with 2 timeouts to do something rather dramatically.
That was a very dangerous throw by Rosenfels there. he throws across the middle. I guess he's been seeing Moses open all that time, and Fred Barber almost comes in and gets the interception. They almost came back and pulled the trick like they did on Iowa when they intercepted on Hill coming across the middle.
Leads to Mike McKnight trying this one from 33 yards out. It would be a second field goal of the afternoon. The Cyclone crowd was indicating good. It is not. That's huge for Iowa.
That is a big, big play. You know,
17-7, the score remains. Join us next week on ESPN Plus. The Big Ten Network follows Northwestern to Madtown, Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin, to try to stop Brooks Bollinger and the Badgers. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 11 Central. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, and myself will be there. As always, we invite you to check your local listings.
How about the Badgers? All those guys suspended, and they keep winning.
Trying to make it 3 in a row today. Could be 2 3-0 teams if both come through this afternoon. Mullins got a man. That's Casper. He's got some room. And past the 45-yard line for first down. Iowa again with 2 timeouts left to move with. They're not going to use one here.
Well, right now, the clock doesn't start until the change is set, so they're getting the guys set up so they can take advantage of that time.
Iowa State self-destructing moments ago, not getting any points. They look for the outside. Barton makes the catch and gets out of bounds for a short game, but it does stop the clock with 26 seconds remaining.
Well, you look at them, they got 2 timeouts left. As long as they get a first down, remember the clock stops when they get, when they go past the first down marker and they move those chains, the clock stops. But they need to be very conscious of the sideline and get out of bounds.
Iowa State did Iowa a favor, Al, by throwing that third down pass because it was incomplete. That saves them time.
Good point.
50 yards to work with for Mullen. Here comes the pressure, and he's sacked.
James Reed, number 52, the defensive tackle, came in. They did a stunt on the inside. They sent both of the inside backers. Now watch the inside backers do a twist there, and Reed's going to come free right from the right side of your screen. Steinbach kind of just let him go. I guess he was looking for the linebackers on the stunt. He forgot Reed right in front of him. You got to block the guy who's closest to you.
Well, Reed has said on more than one occasion, we're having fun this year, and that had to be enjoyable for him to get a hold of Mullen and force Iowa to use another timeout. Hawkeyes have only 14 seconds to go with and a much longer playing field at this point to work with. They would have to get a 30-yard plus gain to get even a crack at a field goal.
Yeah, right now, if you're Iowa State, you just want to play off and just, not have a big play get behind you at this point. I mean, they were very aggressive in their scheme. They like blitzing a lot, especially in the red zone. They will really come after you once you get in the red zone. But outside that second series for Iowa, they haven't got anywhere near the red zone.
We're at Kinnick Stadium, where 70,000 have watched Iowa State control Iowa for most of the first half. We'll chat with Iowa basketball coach Steve Alford at the break. Alford talked about much this week. He even needed a press conference to tell everybody here in Iowa, don't get upset, I'm not going anywhere. And we'll speak to him about that and other subjects at halftime in our game from Kinnick Stadium. A long way to go for the Hawks. Mullen tries to get it back. Casper's got it. Down to the 35-yard line. And the clock stops with 7 seconds remaining. Iowa will use its last timeout.
What a nice throw by Mullen, and what a nice job by Casper getting in between that zone. They played off that time, so he didn't have the pressure. Mullen didn't have that pressure, and he just makes a nice throw. And you'll see 87 Casper flash into your screen. Just finds a hole in that zone. They were playing off, which I would have done if I was them. And he just did a nice job, nice pitch and catch by the quarterback on the season.
From this point, Al, Nate Kading, the freshman, would have about a 52-yard field goal attempt if Kevin Casper can make a catch and get him closer and make sure there's at least a second left to work with. Kading will have a try. Kading hit a couple last week from pretty good distance, 41 and 44 yards, but he missed a closer one. And the coaches admired the fact that the freshman afterwards said, I let my teammates down. It was a big attempt for us in the second half, and I'm sorry it happened. Coaches said, hey, we admired that. That's some maturity on the part of a young kid already.
Well, if they're going to give him a chance to kick the field goal, it's going to have to be a real quick play to the sideline. You don't want to throw anywhere across the middle unless you're going towards the end zone, because even if the guy catches it, you're not going to have enough time to set up for another play. So, you know, the thing is, if you're Iowa State's defense, you want to play that sideline. You want to make sure, you know, you don't want to give up something across the middle, but you're going to lean more towards playing that sideline because you know Iowa is going to try to go that direction.
You've got Casper on one side near the sidelines, and Barton looking for Barton. Can he get out of bounds in time? Yes, indeed. In fact, they only used 3 seconds. Nicely done. And now Kading well within range.
Yep. This is what you want. This is good execution. What we talked about, you have to get to the sidelines.
Played well off of Casper. He's not a deep threat. Able to make the possession reception. And that means Nate Kading will have a 39-yarder. What a lift this would be for the Hawks after Iowa State was down at the Hawkeye goal line. This to cut it to 7. No, sir. And so Iowa State with chances failed, and Iowa has done as well. First half is in the books, and it remains in the control of the visitors from Ames. Cyclones 17, Hawkeyes 7. Today, Iowa State ahead of Iowa at halftime by a score of 17-7. I'm Jim Barber with Al Harris and Chris Miller. The way this began, partner, I thought we'd be up in the 40s on both sides. The offenses moved the ball at will, and then suddenly this became a bit of a defensive struggle.
Yes, it did. You know, a lot of times turnovers are a big key, and one of the big problems for Iowa had was that, you know, they threw that interception deep in Iowa State's territory, and they got a good interception off of Scott Mullen, and they drove the ball down there. And Rosenfels did a good job, a wonderful job of marching his team down the field, and, you know, they're up.
We had plenty of highlights. It started early. In fact, 2 minutes into the first quarter, when a little ball trickery wound up in the hands of this man, J.J. Moses, and he did the rest.
Yes, he did, but Campen, as we talked about earlier, didn't get contained number 54, and you know, you open a little guy out of the gate like that, he's going to hurt you down the field, and you can see he has great running skills. He has 120 yards total offense in the first half, and as you can see, Iowa's going to come back, and nice little rollout to Casper, and he does the rest, getting in the end zone for a touchdown. Right now, you think, hey, we got a good game. But Iowa State comes right back, and they're going to strike. And Sage is he's going to keep the ball, and he's going to vault into the end zone. And he just did a great job of marching his team down the field, and just seems to keep making the smart decisions. You know, he knows when to run, he knows when to pitch it. He does it all.
First half numbers dominated by the Cyclones, particularly in the first quarter in rushing. 170 yards on the ground against the Hawks, who managed just 38. Time of possession is virtually even. Turnovers have been not much of a factor. In fact, if Iowa State doesn't self-destruct in the first half and come up with 0 points, it's perhaps 24-7 at that point.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing they need to do right now is they need to run the football. They need to get the ball back in Bett's hands, because he can get that ball down the field. He was running very well in between the tackles we saw earlier, but they have to continue to run the football. Yes, they're down by a couple touchdowns, but they can get back into this game.
Well, I wonder who feels worse at the end of the first half. Iowa State was down in the red zone inside the 5 of Iowa and failed to score. Then Iowa came back, had a pretty good length field goal for Kading from 39 yards away. He missed that, so neither team probably went in a halftime feeling very good.
No, you have to really feel good for Iowa. They don't feel good, but they have to feel better for them, because they could be way behind. But they have a chance to get back into this game, but they have to be patient and really establish that run game. I can't say that enough.
Dan McCarney trying to make it the hat trick and win 3 in a row over the Iowa Hawks. This was a series that was dominated for the longest time by Hayden Fry and the Hawkeyes. As we start the second half, Iowa State will receive, and in this football game finds itself in position of a 10-point lead.
Iowa really has to seize this momentum back here. They've been behind almost pretty much the whole game. They really have to establish some sort of presence, and it starts defensively. They need to get a turnover to give their offense a very short field at this point. If it's in a kicking game or defensively, if an interception or a fumble, they need to get the turnover here.
Haven't seen many turnovers. That could be a turnover there, but Iowa State able to come up with the ball. That was pretty dangerous. And in fact, the Cyclones will start deep in their own territory. Let's go down to the sidelines for the man who's been manning that area, Chris Miller.
All right, gentlemen, thanks a lot. I had a chance to talk to both coaches before they came out. And Coach Mack said, quite frankly, they need to continue to put points on the board. If you've watched the Cyclones all season long, you know that they jump out early and they let teams come back in the third and fourth quarters. He also said turnover ratio. They're +4 this year. They've got to keep it going. As for Kirk Ferentz, he said, quite frankly, they got to protect Scott Mullen. 3 sacks already. And as they need to step up and sustain Iowa State's drives. Guys, back upstairs.
They do have to protect Mullen, Chris, and in fact, Mr. Haywood has been in the Iowa backfield on a couple of occasions. This time it's the other way around. A good penetration. Jerry Montgomery leading the force for the Hawks as we begin the second half for Iowa on defense.
Well, we saw Montgomery with a very costly penalty face mask, but this time he tackles low and he tackles Haywood the right way. Gets good penetration in the backfield. This is what you need. You got them at 2nd and long, what we talked about. They got to back them up early, get the crowd into the game, make it harder for Rosenfels to hear the cadence and audible.
Loss of 2 on the play, Al. 2nd and 12. Rosenfels from his own end zone. Looking at the 30, ball is caught. First down. Big play for Iowa State.
What a beautiful throw by Sage Rosenfels on that play. Back in the end zone. Throws back across the field. Now watch him. He does like a little short roll to the right, and he throws back across the field. It shows you what kind of arm strength this guy has. It's like an out. A deep out there to Chris Anthony. Wow. What a wonderful throw.
Anthony from Bettendorf, Iowa. Probably quite familiar with the Iowa State-Iowa wars of the past. Big possession play there. Haywood carrying the ball for 3 yards, 2nd and 7. But that play out of the end zone huge because silence the crowd here in Iowa City and keeps the drive going and keeps the ball away from Iowa, which would have had great field position if it had made a 3-and-out stop.
Yep. Jim, you talked about earlier that you thought Rosenthal might be a guy who could play in the National Football League. That was a National Football League type play. I mean, he rolls those right through back across on an out. That was a big-time arm strength play.
Well, you played in the show. What do you think?
Well, it's going to take him some time to get seasoned, but, I mean, making a throw like that shows you can do some things.
And as Haywood carries for the first down. Iowa State right now believing very strongly in its game and trying to put themselves in position to put it away.
Well, Haywood believes very strongly in his ability to run here. Look at this determination, just running through, fighting off tacklers, keeping his leg drive going. And see, that deflated that defense of Iowa. You know, when you have a big play like that out of the end zone, all of a sudden you stick Haywood at him, you see his rushes are doing pretty well too, 75 yards.
Well, the Davis gang used to terrorize Iowa in the past. Darren Davis had over 200 yards in each of the last 2 games, and now it's Ennis Haywood's turn. And he's getting closer and closer to 100 yards, and that would make the 3rd game in a row that would have happened this year.
Well, Anthony Herron on the left side of the screen, number 99, he just misses the play, just flat misses the tackle there. And, you know, those are effort plays. You got to get your feet underneath you. With a strong runner like Haywood, he's not going to run through an arm. I mean, he'll run through an arm tackle. He's not going to go down just by an arm tackle. You have to really put your body into him.
Iowa State controlling the football to start the 3rd quarter. Pressure on Rosenfels, ball caught. One thing you're seeing from Iowa State are some nifty catches, and Mike Banks on the receiving end there.
You know, I've been thinking about how people have looked at Iowa State's wins and said, oh, they didn't beat great teams. But Rosenthal, I tell you what, he's a very impressive quarterback. He always seems to make the right decisions. You know, and Mike Banks there, we called Manimal earlier, his nickname. Another fine catch by him going high up into the air, taking a shot in the ribs and hanging on to the football.
Those are pretty good numbers. 131 yards on 9 of 14 completions. And the way Iowa State is mixing up the football, you get the impression the 3rd touchdown here is going to put Iowa in a whirl of hurt. As if the Hawks aren't already in that position.
They need another stop. They need a stop right here. Someone defensively has to come up and make a play for Iowa.
This game is not only for feeling good about your program inside the state of Iowa, but it's a recruiting war as well. And some of those good players in this state that are on the fence tend to lean with the team that's doing better.
Well, you talk about, that was during the Hayden Fry era, and they had a lot of success there. But Iowa State right now is having their way, just continually running the football.
First carry of the afternoon for Hiawatha Rutland. He is a freshman. 2nd and 8. Cyclones have taken 3.5 minutes off the clock to start the third quarter, and they're on the move. Rutland again the ball carrier, and Hiawatha Rutland. First down, Iowa State.
I tell you what, Rutland's doing a good job here. He just got into the game. He has fresh legs. A lot of times we talk about that defensively. The guy has fresh legs. He's got a little more scoot, a little more scamper. Look at the delayed draw there. Watch the moves he puts on here. Nice cutback by Hiawatha Rutland.
He's out of that football-rich state of Florida. And once a Big Ten coach told me, we don't have to get the first guys on the list in Florida. We'll take the 3rd, 4th, and 5th guys with the exceptional talent that state breeds. Hiawatha Rutland has run the ball twice, one for a significant gain. This time it's Haywood.
You think about Iowa State, they just seem to be running back They seem to start that off. You remember Troy Davis, who played for many years, got over 2,000 yards. He went to the New Orleans Saints. His brother Darren, and now you have Haywood. Now you got Hiawatha Rutland. I mean, they just keep coming at you with really good running back.
And the Cyclones now already over 200 yards rushing. That's impressive. They doubled up in the yards gained against Iowa. Rosenfels thinking about keeping it and keeping it. So far, the first 2 plays inside the red zone have netted very little.
Well, they had their defensive leader, Aaron Campman, come there. Powell drive. Let's go on that one. But you know what? This guy is an overachiever. We're talking about Aaron Campman, because he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the biggest and strongest guy in the world, but he gives you an effort all the time, 100%. He has great leadership capabilities for them, and they're looking for big things for him in the future.
And as you mentioned, he's made the move from linebacker to end. Another big 3rd down defensive play for the Hawkeyes. It's out to Moses. Moses inside the 10-yard line.
That's one of the few plays that Iowa State has run that they haven't had wide open.
Well, the other thing you're seeing here, despite this modest gain, is the fact that Iowa State in the red zone is not coming up with touchdowns. And if you're an Iowa State fan, you might be a little uneasy about that, because you give up 3, Iowa does here, 20-7, 2 scores still gives you a chance.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's sometimes you just guess wrong in your play calling, and they just did on that last play. But Iowa, you have to come back and make a play here. You got to hope the guy misses a field goal, because even though it's not a touchdown, still more points against them.
And he missed another one. Mike McKnight continues to struggle, and that allows the Hawkeyes to hang around. 8:57 for the third quarter. Iowa back on offense and trying to make Iowa State pay for another missed field goal.
But that's one of the things we were talking about. Oh, unfortunately, looks like that's a little dinged up there. That's what they need to do. Get that ball in the vet's hands. I mean, every time he's ran, he's been very effective. Hopefully he can shake that stinger off there.
He got 5 yards on the play, 2nd and 5. 2 opportunities on the last 2 possessions for Iowa State, deep into the red zone, coming up with 0 points. Time now for the Citgo Do You Know Me?
Time now for Do You Know Me? Brought to you by Citgo. You know a neighbor when you see one. At Ohio State, I rushed for over 5,500 yards during my career and hold the NCAA record for most average yards per carry. Do you know me?
We'll have the answer later, and if you don't know him, shame on you.
I would say so.
He's actually got a blood relative playing for the football team this year. son Adrian. 3rd and 7. Iowa badly in need of the first down. Here comes the pressure on Mullen. He gets away from one, but not anybody else. Sack number 4 from the Iowa State defense. The Red Storm.
Now watch the stunt here by the backers. They just do a little twist stunt, and it frees up the guys to make the possible play on that one.
4th and 12 for the Hawkeyes. Back to punt, Jason Baker. Back for Iowa State.
After the punt, we'll give you the answer to the "Do you know me?" But practically everyone out there, Al, is saying, "I know the answer to that one." Jason Baker with another boomer to J.J. Moses. He'll reverse his field for the moment. And J.J. is not going anywhere for one of the few times today.
There's somebody excited there.
Okay, the answer to our Sitco question.
And now the answer to today's Sitco, Do You Know Me? As the only player to start in 4 Rose Bowls, I also made college history by winning 2 Heisman trophies, a feat to this day that has not been matched. I am Archie Griffin.
I don't know about you, Al, but I never would have guessed that.
You know, if anybody watched college football the last, 20 years or so, how many years has it been now since he's played? Early
Played
70s,
in the mid-70s,
right? Everyone
Played
knows
under
Archie
the
Griffin.
legendary Woody Hayes, and he won back-to-back Heismans, which has not been duplicated since that time.
I don't know if it will be either, because it seems like the guys who have the ability to win a Heisman a lot of times go early in the National Football League.
Which was a situation that did not exist back then. Dan McCarney's team in control of football, in control of the game, leading by 10. Despite the lack of scoring over the last 2 possessions, they still own a 10-point lead. Sage Rosenfels. And before he can get anything going, and there'll be a penalty coming up, I believe, against Iowa State.
Either taking too long or somebody flinched. You know, you always wonder when guys come out of the huddle, off the sideline.
Before the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
You always wonder before, when guys first come out of a timeout or come off the sideline, why do you get a penalty before the play starts?
And how often do you see that happen?
You see it a lot more than you think you would.
Sure.
I don't know if the guys are mentally just too relaxed coming off that sideline, but you think they would be a little more focused and they know what play is going to be called.
And Iowa State, which has had some difficulty in putting people away, operates at 1st and 15. One man misses, and Haywood still goes, and I think got back to the original line of scrimmage. That was a strong run by Ennis Haywood.
Derek Pickens had him way in the backfield. You got to make that play. Watch 92 Derek Pickens. He has him. Got to wrap him up. But when you have a strong runner like Ennis Haywood, he does a good job of keeping his feet moving, getting some positive yards out of a really bad situation.
Remember how this one started? 7-7, then 10-7 in the first quarter. And Iowa hasn't had nearly as many chances as Iowa State, still remains in the game. As Rosenfels fakes one way, throws back the other way, dangerous pass, and Moses is going to be dragged down by LeVar Woods. A huge loss for Iowa State. I'm not sure about that play.
Yeah, that was a dangerous play, especially back deep in your own territory. They do a little fake reverse, try to go back to Moses. They thought that play was open before, but Woods does a nice job of playing that. And they were very fortunate that Woods didn't come up a little closer. Possibly he may have picked that ball off and went to the end zone.
The impression you get, as anemic as Iowa's offense has been, and Iowa State will burn a timeout, they're allowing the Hawkeyes to hang around in this one.
Well, you have to realize this, too, Jim, is that Iowa State's not used to winning. They're not used to closing people out. So that's something they have to learn.
That's a good point. Sun-kissed afternoon at Kinnick Stadium will continue with the rivalry inside the state of Iowa. Jim Barber, Al Harris, Chris Miller. Important point of the football game as Iowa defense is calling upon its fans to help out. On 3rd and long, Rosenfels over the middle. Pass is caught, not enough for the first down. But a good gain up to J.J. Moses, which will allow Iowa State to punt with some more territory. It's an important play.
Well, I can't say enough about Sage Rosenfels. He has tremendous pressure here by Herent coming up the middle, and he still releases that ball and gets some velocity on it. That's a nice play. That guy has a really nice arm because, I mean, he has a guy, a big lineman barreling right down and put him on his backside. He throws that ball right on target to Moses.
That gain good for 16 yards. Allows Iowa State to punt from around its own 20. Khalil Hill would love to break one off here for the Hawks. Makes one man miss. And then gets clobbered up at a 35. Iowa's still very much in this game, but the offense has done very little since the first quarter, and that's why the Hawks have been stuck on 7. Ohio State and Miami of Ohio. They say Ohio State's got to play inside the state, and guess what? That might not be easy. Illinois is struggling with Cal. They'll have Michigan under the lights next week in Champaign. Northwestern had started well, but TCU, ranked in the top 25, is up by 10. And perhaps a surprise here. Drew Brees, the Heisman hope, and Purdue down to Notre Dame 17-7. Notre Dame still has something in the tank after last week's game with Nebraska. The Badgers are trying to go 3-0. I think this is a revenge game, Al, after what Cincinnati did last year to Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Virginia Tech can mail in the second half, ahead 35-0 as BTU will go 3-0 in the season. Back to the conference, the Big Ten, in Minnesota after allowing 350 yards on the ground last week to Ohio. Gophers are on the road and they're winning 13-3. Later today, Michigan at UCLA. And tonight, Michigan State will take a look at Missouri on the road. Big day for the conference in the non-league play. Betts breaks one tackle and gets past the 45. Maybe that will kickstart the Iowa attack.
You know what? If I was Kirk Ferentz, I would be telling the offense coordinator, Ken O'Keefe, don't throw the ball. Give the ball to this guy until they stop him. I mean, look at those moves right there. Just great moves. He really has good drive. I mean, you got to get the ball in his hands. He went out for this particular play, but he's been effective the whole game running the football.
10 on the play for Betts, 11 carries, 66 yards, and just the 9th Iowa first down. On the roll, pass is caught by Casper, gets up to midfield and maybe a little bit beyond. And a touchdown here for Iowa makes this a far more competitive game than what we've seen. And I've got to go back, Al, to the 2 missed opportunities for Iowa State, end of the first half, beginning of the second half. Possible touchdowns didn't happen. Field goals should have happened. That didn't either.
Yep. And I tell you what, they've had that history of letting teams hang around. And what we talked about before, when you're not used to winning, you're not used to closing people out. You got to keep that intensity up, even if it seems like the game's in hand.
Probably sounds harder than it seems if you're not in that position very often. Betts able to elude one and up close to the first down marker near the 43.
I tell you what, I can't say enough about Betts. This guy has to touch the ball 50% of this drive at least. Little delay draw there. Watch the footwork. Just does a good job of keeping that feet going, keeping those feet going and driving, getting in position for a first down, which they look like they got there on the quarterback sneak.
Mullen did some driving himself, and in front of that offensive line of his, guys like Blazek, Steinbach leading the way. It's a first down for Iowa. Good surge on 3rd and short.
And look at that night. They just get behind those big old hogs, those big offensive linemen as a quarterback, and just dig your heels and push. You're going to get that first down.
We saw 64 Pete Traynor leading the way as well. Offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. First down, Hawkeyes. And Mullen looks to throw. Khalil's got it. Khalil Hill with a catch. Matched up against Jamarcus Powers.
Boy, that looked like interference to me by Powers. Now, you're going to see Powers looks like he's draped all over Hill, and the crowd reacted to it thinking it would be an interference. You see him right there, but Hill still does a fine job of looking that ball in.
Consider this. Iowa had 8 first downs up until this drive. They have 3 already.
That's because they're running the ball again. They haven't stopped Betts yet. I keep running until they stop him.
1st and 10 Hawkeyes, 30 yards away from tightening this game up. And it's Betts with a couple of moves. He's still going inside the Iowa State 10-yard line. Liddell Betts.
I told you that's what they needed to do. They haven't been able to stop Betts all day. I mean, you can tell when a back's in their rhythm, and he definitely is. Now watch this. Good blocking by the line there. Steinbach 52, no, Blazek, excuse me, 52 does a nice job. And after that, it's just Betts. I mean, this guy is determined. I think, you know, he heard all the flack about him not running well the last couple of weeks, and he's out to make a statement to everyone that he hasn't lost anything.
That's averaging 7 yards a carry, Al. And he'll get the ball again on this series of downs. Off the pitch.
Bobby Crockett. That was kind of smaller, not just giving Betts a little break. Crockett's only 207 pounds, kind of a tall, more lanky runner. Betts is more in between the holes. He runs between the holes very well, kind of he'll tunnel his way through there and give you some shape.
Well, Betts remains on the sidelines for this down as well. Let's see if Mullen decides to put it up as Oliver and Hill go to the far side of the field on 2nd and goal. Mullen with plenty of time, looking for 6. Broken up just at the last minute by Mark Timmons. That was huge for Iowa State.
They had Hill in the slot, and they just ran him towards the flag. Watch him, he's in the slot. But you have Mark Timmons just does a fine job. He gets it, well, it looks like he got away with a little hold there. They didn't see it. But watch him get up, get his hands up there so Hill can't get his hands on the ball.
Played the receiver well, didn't he?
He sure did.
Betts back in the game as a lone back. Hill and Casper far side, Barton near side on a huge 3rd down play for Iowa. Mullen on a little pitch, nothing doing. Iowa State smelled it from the beginning, and they'll force Iowa into a field goal attempt.
Oh boy, does that play smelled out? Harklaw, Ryan Harklaw, I tell you what, he put the claw on Betts.
The Claw is a pretty good player. He's added 75 pounds to his frame since high school and still moves pretty well.
Well, that hurt Iowa. They looked like they were going to come right down and get a touchdown, and all of a sudden they're stopped.
Hastings got to get this one for the Hawkeyes, but the ball is loose. And Iowa self-destructs. In a game of errors, the latest one belongs to the home team, and it remains 17-7 Iowa State. Neither kicking game, nothing to brag about this afternoon in Iowa City. Well, when it comes to the kicking game today, nothing special about the special teams.
Looked like Jason Baker, the punter, who's a holder on that one. Looked like he wasn't ready for the snap. He didn't get his hands up there quick enough and went right through his hands. Boy, that's a bad break.
Now, instead of Iowa being down by a touchdown, they remain 2 scores behind. It's been tough enough to move the football against Iowa State today. Without self-destructing like that. Last play of the quarter. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
And that kills you, too, when your defense has been playing well like they're playing in the second half and you drive down and you get nothing out of it. That really hurts you if you're Iowa.
We're a quarter away from Iowa State continuing its dominance of Iowa. On a spectacular afternoon in Iowa City, Eastern Iowa. The 4th quarter begins with Iowa State ahead by 10, and Rosenfels looking for more. Got a man for the moment, and it was then nearly picked off.
Ryan Hansen, that's 2 times today he almost had interceptions. He's got to come up with that pick. I mean, he was waiting back there. You can't call it better if you're a defensive coordinator. You have your safety in the hole. See him there? Number 14. He's going to come up there. That needs to be caught right there. You need to make those big plays.
The Des Moines Register had a nice story on Hansen and his law pursuits as he enters his first year of law. hoping to hit the books this weekend with a smile on his face, but that one might be one that'll sit with him for a while. 3rd and 11. Iowa drops a couple of their defenders back as Rosenfels looks for the first down, and it's Moses. Who else?
See, you know, when we talk about opportunities, I believe almost every player has a couple of plays a game to change the game in somewhere, blocking, tackling, whatever thing you have. And you look at Ryan Hansen, he's had a chance for 2 interceptions. And when he doesn't make that last one, you have things like this come back and hurt you. Moses just coming right across the middle. I love the way he catches with his hands. A lot of times you see little short guys, they a lot of times catch the ball in their body and not so much with their hands, but he does a great job with that.
And his helmet got racked up by LeVar Woods. He said, hey, big fella, play.
Woods laid the wood on him that time.
Did.
My goodness, watch Woods come here from the right of your screen, number 97, and boy, does he lay a wallop. Oh, boy, that's how you teach someone to tackle there.
On that play, Haywood looked bigger than 6'3", or rather Woods looked bigger than 6'3", and Haywood smaller than 5'11". 2nd and 10, a minute off the clock in the 4th quarter. Rosenfels likes to roll out of that pocket. Got a man. Good enough for a first down for Iowa State, just past the markers. We would like to take a moment to thank our corporate partners, Kemper Funds, long-term investing in a short-term world. Value City Department Stores and Value City Furniture Stores. Get the home team advantage. And 7-Up. Make 7-Up yours. No home team advantage today for Iowa, and it's beginning to turn out that way in this series for the Hawks.
I think you have a team that's used to making plays and used to winning versus one that hasn't. They're not expecting. It's almost like they're hoping they can make a play instead of making it.
On the end of the round, instead of giving it to Moses on that series, they go up the middle. Nothing there, but Iowa State's in position. They can use some clock and let the Red Storm take over defensively.
Roger Meyer came up and made a nice play on that. But Iowa's defense, if you remember, they played well in the second half last week, and I think they played pretty well in the second half here. They just had some opportunities to make some plays, and they haven't done them yet. But they're playing with a lot more enthusiasm. They're getting to the ball better, tackling better.
Norm Parker hasn't stopped his day of work yet. Still hoping for something big to happen. Instead, Rosenfels goes on the roll and looks and throws, and it's incomplete.
I tell you what, that's a nightmare for a defensive back when you have a quarterback with the arm like Rosenfels has, and he can run the ball, he can throw it deep like he does there. I mean, he puts a lot of pressure on defensive backs.
Iowa changes its defensive scheme for 3rd down as it's 3rd and long. With the way Iowa State's kicking game is going, I wouldn't imagine that a field goal from this range would be in the works if they're unable to move the ball.
Yeah, Mike McKnight has been struggling mightily kicking the ball today.
Iowa faking the blitz and now dropping people back. Rosenfels almost hit at the line of scrimmage. It's intercepted. And it's Hansen, and this time he did hold on to the football. Big play for the Iowa Hawkeyes. A flag goes down after the play.
Hansen comes back. I mean, he was mad he missed that last one. He wasn't about to miss this interception. And see, that's what you need to do on Iowa's defense. You need to come up with the play.
Personal foul on the defense, personal foul on the offense. Those penalties offset. The interception is good. First down.
The thing that matters is that Iowa has the football. Here's Chris.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Ryan Hansen from right here in Iowa City went to Iowa City West as a quarterback. Came here as a quarterback, but then they approached him about going to being a defensive back. Normally, quarterbacks are like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to stay on offense. He embraced it. That's why he's in law, guys. He has a way of changing things around. We'll send it back to you.
I think he's going to do pretty well in this profession, Chris. Another opportunity for the Hawkeyes as Iowa State will not allow Iowa to go away. Tough pass broken up at midfield. Intended for Kevin Casper, and there's Atif Austin. defending. A second look at Ryan Hansen's big moment.
Now watch the pressure here coming from Derek Davis at 37. He causes the ball to fly in the air like that because he hit Rosenfels before he had a chance to throw it. See Hansen there. He redeems himself for dropping that pick. Now he has his team in good field position. They have to capitalize on this, though.
Mullen would go with the shotgun. Badly in need of a touchdown here in the fourth quarter with his team down by 10. Here comes the heat from Haywood and others. And Reggie Haywood once again making things happen. He wasn't the man that got to Mullen after the release, but he was the first guy to make a move.
Oh, big Reggie Hayward, number 15. You're going to see him shoot into the screen here on a twist stunt. He forces Mullen out of the pocket, and that's what you need to do. You need to get that quarterback out of the rhythm. And Jordan Carsons comes in and finishes him off, number 92. But you need to keep him out of his rhythm, force him out of the pocket. Now it's 3rd and long. Iowa needs a big play here.
A couple of years ago, Haywood was tracking down Kyle McCann in this game. Quarterbacks from Iowa see Haywood at all times. Mullen keeping the football, looking for the first down. He's pretty close. Scott Mullen with a nifty run up near the markers. Did he get the first down?
I think he might be a little short.
But even if he didn't, doesn't take much of a genius to figure out what happens on 4th down.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to need it, though. It's a first down for Mullen, who shows some nifty footwork there and keeps the Iowa drive going.
You know, being a quarterback nowadays, you have to have that mobility. You don't see the guy that just sits back in the pocket all the time. He just does a good job when the linemen don't come up in their lanes. That leaves an open area. The quarterback could hurt you on a scramble.
So on 3rd and long, Mullen keeps things going. Penalty flag on the play. Liddell Betts got the first down, and Mullen just slapped his hands together and saying it can't be, but it is holding against Iowa. And that sits well with some of the visiting fans.
Oh, yes, it does. But I tell you what, that's hard on the Iowa offensive line because they've been blocking well in the running game, and you can't have breakdowns like this.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, remains first down.
So instead of 1st and 10 for Iowa, it is 1st and a bunch, 21.
Boy, this is a struggle of a losing team here. You can't have those plays happen. Get those holding calls on a big run play like that, that just really sets you back.
Now Hawkeyes will use 4 receivers on this 1st and 21 situation. Mullen shoots one across, another penalty flag, another touch for Liddell Betts. Let's see what this one is about.
Another holding.
And this is getting ugly for the Iowa Hawkeye offense. Drawing some boos from the stands.
Now watch this. You can't tackle a guy like that. I mean, that's almost like a sumo wrestling move there. It's Bruce Nelson. I think he put the full Nelson on him that time.
Kirk Ferentz's offense for the 3rd week in a row, having trouble generating much.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, remains first down.
It's 1st and a 3rd of a football field.
My
The field is 100 yards, and it's going to be 1st and 31 or thereabouts.
The thing is, you know, sometimes you think, oh, officials give us a break. I mean, they had to call that. I mean, he wrapped him up pretty good, Bruce Nelson did on that play.
A first down for Iowa would be at the Iowa State 39. They're headed the wrong way. Mullen again has to throw. Quick out, caught by Barton. That'll get about a 1/3 of it back. Setting up 2nd and around 20.
Well, what you need is good protection to allow the quarterback to throw through that lane there. And the linemen are doing a good job. Barton does a good job keeping his feet in bounds. Picking up a good chunk of that yards back. Still a long ways away, though.
11-17 for the football game. Iowa had a first quarter touchdown. That's been the only points for the Hawks. But Iowa State's inability to put this game away has allowed Iowa some opportunities. Pressure on Mullen. Pass incomplete. Intended for Casper, who has been Scott Mullen's favorite receiver today.
Mullen looks like he's talking to his receiver on that play.
152 yards for the day for Scott Mullen.
All those aren't bad numbers. He's not making big plays like Rosenfels is. Rosenfels made the big plays for his offense.
And you add, Al, 2 missed field goals into there, one of which was a botched snap. You have Iowa with some big-time struggles. Now on third down, Mullen needs some yards, looking for a receiver. Oliver got it!
Oh, what a catch!
Biggest play of the afternoon for the Iowa Hawkeyes by number 6, the junior Chris Oliver.
What a catch by Chris Oliver. He uses all of that 6'2" frame, just going right down the hash marks. And watch this catch. He just puts on the elevators there, just overpowers the defensive back, Austin. Watch this. This is a great catch. Right over Austin's fingertips.
They needed 21. They got 39. And more importantly, have some life. Mullen throwing again. Khalil Hill out of bounds. Very close to the first down marker. Again, Iowa State with chances to put this one away in the second half, and now being backed up against its own end zone.
Well, Mullen's starting to get in a little rhythm here. Nice little outplay to Hill. But, you know, when you're a quarterback and you have a receiver come up and make a big play like Oliver did, that helps you a bit more. And when your next throw, you have a lot more confidence.
You still have a lot of time in the fourth quarter, but an out-of-bounds throw like that keeps time from running off. And that will be precious when we get down to the waning moments. Second and short, a little option for Mullen. A first down for quarterback Scott Mullen inside the 10.
Well, Iowa State said to Iowa, if you can run the option, we can run the option too. Now see, you have the quarterback. He does a nice job of finding the hole. He's just trying to get a first down. Mullen does, and he just leans forward with that tall 6'6" frame of his. Probably falls a couple of feet, being 6'6".
Pretty handy when you have short yardage situations like that one. Iowa fans still in this football game hoping for something big to happen. Liddell Betts tries to cut one way, then the other. They might have got back to the line of scrimmage.
Good job by the Iowa State defensive line. That's the first time I've seen Betts really stopped, maybe since early in the game. But I'd keep letting him touch the ball because he has been very effective today running.
And as badly as Iowa needs points, if it has to settle for 3, that's okay because it puts them within a touchdown. But 7 would really start to put some heat on Iowa State. And perhaps remind the Cyclones this should have been their game from the get-go. Single man in the backfield, and Hill walks over to the far side. Mullen looking for the end zone. It's got Hill! Touchdown! And Iowa's back in business.
Boy, that was a wonderful play there by Khalil Hill. What he does, watch him in motion. He's going to go in motion. He's going to cut right back across the middle. See him flash? Right there. And he just has the presence of mind to lean across, get his body into the end zone. Hill missed last season, so it's really good to have him back as far as their passing game is concerned, and he gets them right back into the game.
Well, Elvis and everyone else not yet to leave the building, and why not? With 9.5 left, we have a 3-point football game. Thanks to the quarterbacking of Scott Mullen and the receiving of Khalil Hill. Wisconsin Badgers have their cheese heads, and guess what they have in Iowa? Corn heads, I believe. 17-14, Iowa State by 3. And this pumped up crowd back in the game for the first time in a while for Iowa will root on its defense. Again, it has been a year since Iowa's won a football game. Let's take a look at our drive of the game. Brought to you by Mobile Speed Pass, today's way to pay. The last scoring drive of dandy. 10 plays, 59 yards. Mullen to Khalil the Thrill Hill for a touchdown.
Remember, Iowa's defense played very well last week, and they've been playing very well in the second half, and they've gotten their team back into the game.
A position Iowa State did not expect to be in. On 2 different possessions, Al, Iowa State inside the Iowa 10 and coming up with nothing.
Yep, and that may come back to haunt them here.
At the very least, it's put them in a pressure situation. 9:19 for regulation. Rosenfels trying to get things going. Almost sacked at the 5, incomplete.
They will not call that grounding this year. I know everyone's looking for that, but they're allowing this year. That's one of the rules they're doing, like the NFL. If you get out the pocket, they allow you to throw the ball. As long as you're outside the pocket, you can throw it just like that on the ground. You can throw it in the stands. They're trying to protect the quarterback. They took a page out of the National Football League.
I like the rule. I like the rule in the National Football League. I think it works here.
Yep. Although I would have hated those defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And I was.
And you were a pretty good one. 2nd and 10. Crowd starting to turn the volume up. Haywood. And he's not going anywhere. And the last man to get to him, Mikael Brown, put on the finishing touches. 3rd and long for Iowa State.
Well, you're going to see a host of black shirts here. There, you know, once you get back in the game, the crowd's into it. Everybody seems to fly to the ball faster. Campman, there, 54 coming up there. You got Shane Hall, number 10. Derek Davis, number 30. Davison, number 37. Now the crowd's into it. They're really going to be flying around the ball now.
Al, a monster 3rd down play. With 8:35 remaining. They must get to the 31. Rosenfels on the move, looks across, and the ball is caught. 1st down, Iowa State.
Wow.
Campbell again on the receiving end for the Cyclones.
Rosenfeld makes this play. He's going to buy time for Campbell to get open. Watch him hold the ball, throws it at the last second.
Just past LeVar Woods. Sage Rosenfels with perhaps the most important completion just moments ago. Iowa has 3 timeouts remaining. Rosenfels rolls to his favorite side, the right side. Ball is caught. Another Iowa State 1st down. Now they're starting to get back in rhythm, Al.
Yeah, they are. Roosevelt is the guy who does it for them, though. I mean, he just has total control of this offense. And they just sneak the tight end Mike Banks out on a bootlegger. He comes across the field, and he's wide open. That is a very tough play to cover if you're in the man coverage because he's running across the field. And believe me, the receiver always has the advantage in that play.
Under 8 minutes for the football game. Cyclones trying to hang on. With a short carry to midfield, 2nd and 8. Join us next week on ESPN Plus. Don't know if we'll match the thrilling part of this game then, but the Big Ten Network follows Northwestern at Camp Randall. The Wildcats and the defending Rose Bowl champion Wisconsin Badgers. Coverage begins at noon Eastern Time, 11 Central. Check your local listings. Always a lot of fun to go to Madtown on a college football weekend. Battling, and at last check, leading Cincinnati. Rosenfels has got the football, and another Iowa State 1st down. You cannot say enough about this quarterback.
Anthony Herron, the defensive end. Remember, we talked about this all day. You got to keep contained. Watch him on the right side of your screen, number 99. Oops, where did he go? No one's out there to contain Roosevelt. That's why you have to have good discipline within the defense. You have to be aggressive. You have to be smart, though. And whenever they see those defensive ends pitching like that, they're going to do an option, they're going to do a bootleg or something like that. So you have to be smart if you're a defensive end.
3 consecutive first downs against the Iowa defense. Puts Iowa State at the Hawkeye 37. More importantly, using the clock. Haywood able to find an opening for a moment. Across the 35. Setting up second. About half the yardage needed for a first down.
Aaron came crashing in that time, number 99. It'll be interesting, although he's going out on this play, it'll be interesting to see if they come back again and do some sort of option or a bootleg again, or reverse even, to take advantage of those ends crashing down on the run.
It is not imperative for Iowa State to score if they can continue to use the clock. And right now, they're working that clock very effectively as it rolls down to 5. This quarterback's putting on a show. A man open again, and this one for big yardage. Down to the 11-yard line for Iowa State.
Kyle Knock on that play. And you watch this block by Mike Banks, who they call Manimal number 31. He knocks a player the next week right here. Bang. And you got Mr. Knox down there. He looks like a big offensive lineman running down the field.
He's made a couple of good catches today. Iowa State can pick up a first down if needed. Iowa's defense, which has tightened things up. When the Cyclones have hit the red zone, must do it again. Safe play to Haywood. If Iowa State scores a touchdown here, that may seal the deal.
Well, you know, the thing that I noticed on that play is because they've been doing the bootlegs, the ends aren't crashing as much. They got to honor that. And see Kaufman out there, or Campman out there, 54. He's just concerned about that contain. You know, they run reverses, they run bootlegs, so he has to honor that. So, you know, they're having their way right now with Iowa's defense.
Pickup of nearly 6 yards on the play. 2nd and 4. Iowa State with an answer to Iowa's scoring drive in the 4th. Rosenfels has been a magician with a football. He's going to score on this one. Touchdown! And maybe ball game.
They came right back on that one. You know, it doesn't seem to matter who's playing defensive ends. Cody O'Hara this time, number 28. He misses contain this time. And you have a runner like Rosenfels, he's just going to get the ball in the end zone. It just seems like no matter who the defensive end is, they're not getting contained.
These fans hoping that the tradition of beating Iowa is continuing. This would be the 3rd year in a row if it happens. And Iowa State, 5 minutes and change away from that happening. Sage Rosenfels has fooled the Iowa defense in the 4th. And this latest work of trickery has the Clones up by 10. Jim Barber with Al Harris and Chris Miller. Nice to have you with us for today's Battle of the State of Iowa. Won for 55 minutes by Iowa State. The secret as to what the Hawks must do now, and that is get up and down the field quickly. Pass caught over the middle, good for a first down as they hit the tight end, or close to a first down. Let us take a look at the Value City Department Store play of the game. It's the quarterback, the Rage, Sage Rosenfels, to the end zone, and he got that touchdown. He was denied in the first half because of a penalty.
Yeah, he just makes all the right decisions. It just seems like whenever they need something to happen, he controls the game, if it's with a pass or with his legs.
And Iowa's got to get a hurry up going here, Al. Too much time going off the clock and very little time to work with. 2nd and 2.
Dangerous there.
Intended for Casper, will stop the clock, but still short of the first down and a long way from a touchdown.
You know, one of the things you're going to have to watch on this is number 15, Reggie Hayward now. He's a really good pass rusher. He's had 2 sacks today. He had 2 sacks last week. Now, you know, they're obviously in a passing situation. So Reggie Hayward, their fine defensive end, number 15, watch for him. They're going to have to put an extra person on him.
Just one receiver, everybody else in tight. On third down, they'll give it to Betts. Betts reads the hole, gets the first down, and gets out of bounds. So good on both ends for the Iowa running back. Keeping the drive going, stopping the clock.
I'll tell you what, you needed a breakout game. I mean, Betts did. He needed a breakout game for himself. I mean, he only had 100 yards the first 2 games, and he almost got 100 yards in the first half the way he was running. And this would be really good for his confidence, but they need to get this ball down the field.
How about Iowa State's offense today? Almost 500 total yards.
They've just done a great job of keeping them off balance. They've called every play, it seems like, works from different angles, bootlegs.
Mullen had to escape Haywood, and you're right. He's coming charging right now and trying to put this thing to an end. Let's take a look at the Beck's Beer game summary. Iowa State's running game, powerful. 3 times better than Iowa's. Quarterback Rosenfels, 235 total yards, a couple of scores. Iowa hurt itself at times with penalties. The kicking game was hurt as well, and Hill has 5 catches for 52 yards. Chris Oliver had a terrific catch on Iowa's last scoring drive, but then Iowa State came right back and scored. No catch, incomplete. Intended for Ryan Barton.
This is a dangerous point when you're an offensive quarterback. You're going to try to make a play to get yourself back into this game again. The defense is going to be a lot more aggressive. They know, like, if they hold you here, they can close this game out, especially the way their offense is playing Iowa State's. So this is a huge play, probably the biggest play in the ball game right here.
2 more downs to work with if Iowa does not get the first down here. Obviously, 4th down is a down they must use. 3rd down conversions are comparable. Here comes Iowa State with a pressure, and the ball is caught. Khalil Hill gets the first down.
Khalil Hill, I mean, that's the 2nd time he's juggled the ball but held on here. He's just going to come across in a quick slant, and he almost loses the ball. He does a good job holding on.
And Iowa will use a timeout, which means just 2 remain. It'll be 4th and short. Will the Hawkeyes get a first down and keep this thing going? Even if they do, only 3:44 remains.
Pay-per-view, the director of White Men Can't Jump takes you between the ropes.
You're fighting Vince in Vegas.
In Vegas, behind the scenes.
I'm gonna hit you like that.
And beneath the sheets.
Why are you fighting?
Because they pay us.
Woody Harrelson, Antonio Banderas, in the story of 2 best friends and their last shot at greatness.
I just don't like you.
Knockout.
I don't like you either.
Play it to the bone, now on pay-per-view, rated R.
Hi. As Chris Bertman, host of NFL Primetime, I have an obligation to treat all the day's games with equal importance, to break down all the day's highlights with equal vigor, and to never stage a game in an airplane hangar in New Mexico and pawn it off as authentic, you know, like the government did with the moon landing.
NFL Primetime, Sundays at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
If Iowa State wins today, it'll be their 8th consecutive non-conference win. And guess what? That's about to happen. Iowa State begins the celebration, and why not? There's Reed. Big James Reed, a huge factor today for the Cyclones. We have a flag down on the field, so let's clear that up.
That might be against Iowa State, the way their demeanor is looking right now. They may have did a little excess celebration, or maybe we'll have to see.
We'll see what our referee announces here in a moment. James Bible.
I don't understand that call when you have 4th and short and you have a back like Betts is running close to 7 yards a clip. I was figuring if you're going to run the ball, give it to him because they haven't really seemed to been able to stop him.
Well, Iowa's offense is still on the field, but Iowa State is celebrating. Let's get a decision.
After the play was over, personal foul on the offense, personal foul on the defense. There's a disqualification on Iowa State. It was after the play was over, the ball goes over on downs, first down.
Iowa State loses a player, but will not lose the football game. 27 Ansley may be the guilty party.
He's trying to plead, not me, coach, I didn't do anything. Now see, watch Reed, 52, right there. Come get that penetration across. He doesn't allow Mullen to turn up the field. Mullen has to take a step back, and with 4th and short, you want to be going up the field. There's 27, and oh, he hit Mullen right with a forearm smash to the helmet right after the play. See him, he's standing over him, talking trash to him now. So that probably got him that personal foul.
He tried to explain it to his coach, Dan McCarney. And obviously there'll be discussion about it after the fact, but it's tempered considerably with Iowa State about to win the football game.
Needs to be another turnover by the defense. Somehow get that ball out. You have to take a chance to strip a guy here.
Cyclones won 2 years ago here, 27-9, and came back in Ames last season with a victory 17-10.
Now watch here, Ansley. He comes over. Now he's going to start talking trash to Mullen. Watch this. Now what? He's going to stand up. He's going to start talking to him, get in his face, and you're going to see a ball fly out from Mullen. Mullen throws the ball out. Boom, right there.
Well, I guess I shouldn't laugh, but
that happens. You got a rivalry here. Remember?
Sure.
And that was uncalled for by Ansley. He needed to get kicked out for that.
So Ansley is dismissed, but Iowa State has the ball and the football game with under 3 minutes left. How about Dan McCarney winning for the 3rd year in a row in a rivalry that was dominated so long by Iowa?
Mike Dolendal and Derek Pickens.
Enos Haywood, the outstanding player of the game. Outstanding back of the game. 107 yards. He's been getting over 100 yards each week. Well deserved.
Darren Davis rushed for over 200 yards in each of the last 2 times these teams have met. Rosenfels keeping the football. And Sage doesn't need to do much more, even though this sets up 4th down.
Well, what that does when you do a bootleg, that runs off more time.
Sure.
Because it's a slow developing play. So that's what you want to do, run the clock down. Iowa seems to want to save their 2 timeouts. Meanwhile, they're letting a lot of precious time tick off that clock.
Dan McCarney doesn't want to smile yet. But the former Hawkeye player and the former Hawkeye assistant coach under Hayden Fry about to enjoy his 3rd win in a row over the Hawkeyes. And with 2 weeks off, they can enjoy it. Rosenfels goes ahead and boots the football rather than risk anything very dangerous on 4th down. Now we got some more pushing and shoving. And the referee, James Bible, says enough of that.
Woods. LeVar Woods and Haywood going at it a little bit.
Jerry Montgomery in there as well. But with 1 minute and 23 seconds, they can have a number of free safeties back there to make sure nothing happens to their defense. Iowa State about ready to celebrate again.
It is, unless you have another play like Oliver put on before, coming out of nowhere.
Iowa State should have enough DBs back there to make sure that doesn't happen. So 2 weeks off for Iowa State, and Iowa, its reward now with an 0-3 start is Nebraska. Best team on the planet.
That is not pretty. They were talking about that unsportsmanlike conduct play. They relayed that to both coaches as to why that happened. I think, you know, whenever you get the rivalry there, guys, you know, you feel like you're on top now, and now you're going to start razzing each other a bit. And the refs are doing a good job of trying to keep that under control.
Well, in this state, Iowa State has become big dog. All those years of suffering and some lopsided losses, the rivalry has changed, and rather dramatically.
Let's not forget there are a lot of high school recruits from Iowa that are here today, and they're viewing this, so obviously it's an advantage for Iowa State.
Yeah, not the best of shows for the Hawkeyes. 58 seconds remaining. Iowa State took charge early in this game, Al, with the 54-yard reverse run by James Moses and never gave up the lead.
Well, they just seem to continually keep Iowa's defense off balance. They ran so many different plays, reverses, bootlegs, tight ends out, on the flats, receivers down deep. They've done everything it seems that they had to do to make those plays to win this game.
Here's Mullen trying to get out of some pressure, keeps the football. Mullen still running with the ball. And a nice run past the 35, but just 48 seconds to go in the game. And certainly not enough time for Iowa to pull anything off.
Well, the clock stops, the chains are moving. You got to keep believing. You never know. Stranger things have happened.
And this would be very strange if it happened.
We saw that California play quite a few years ago. All of a sudden they came back.
Only seen that a couple hundred times. Short passes will not get it done, though. Iowa unable to go deep. As most of the defensive pressure back in the secondary for Iowa State, and less than 30 seconds to go.
Gotta go deep.
This series began in 1894, had a number of years where the two teams did not play each other.
Well, Dan McCarney, he just got doused. He's a former Iowa coach.
He feels pretty good on a day like this.
Oh, you know he has to be happy. I mean,
sure.
He had a 15-42 record coming into this game. I'm sure he was catching a lot of flack from the people out there in Iowa State. Now he has him off to, looks like a 3-0 record.
And they may do something in the conference. They're not expected, certainly with Nebraska in there, to win the Big 12 or Texas or to win their particular division. But the fact is, they can be pretty decent. Mullen still scampering around and says, why not?
Oh.
And almost caught with 5 seconds to go.
By Mr. Oliver again, almost in the same spot as before. See, Dan is angry about that. See, that's the way coaches are. You see, he has the game of control, and he's still coaching.
Sure.
Still coaching, and that's part of a good coach.
Well, you saw when he got hit by the water, he still looked at the scoreboard, basically saying, we still got some more time to go, guys. I appreciate the celebration, but on this deep ball, almost a great catch by Oliver again. But even a touchdown here will not matter because 5 seconds is about to elapse.
This will be the last play.
Everybody back for the home run. Iowa State has done it again. The Cyclones roll into Kinnick Stadium and beat the Hawkeyes for the 3rd year in a row. And another strong beginning for Dan McCarney.
Sure is. You have to feel good for him. 3-0, nice start. He has a good quarterback, Rosenfels, who really dominated the game. And, I mean, you can't speak enough about that young quarterback. I mean, he just controlled the whole game, running with his feet. He made decisions when to run on the option, when to keep it, when to pitch it. He made nice passes out to the flat. He was just in total control of the game the whole way.
Kirk Ferentz, Iowa must figure out a way to score points as the offense continued with its struggles, and the Cyhawk continues in the hands of Iowa State.
Boy, oh boy. Iowa, they have their work cut out for them coming up.
This has already been a long season for the Hawkeyes, and they've just played 3 games. But for the Cyclones, 2 weeks off to enjoy this. Get ready for Baylor and a couple of weeks on the road. I can't remember if that was the Chicago Bulls or Lakers.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Slogan, but either way, it works here.
Pat Riley supposedly has rights on that saying.
Well, they better check on that. They may owe him a couple dollars, but who cares, huh? Cyclones outplay the Hawks. They're the better team. And they win today 24-14.
I tell you what, Sage Rosenfels, this guy will be up for considerations for all conference the way he's playing right now. And you need that kind of production. You notice the really good teams, you know, they have that production from the quarterback position, and he's definitely doing that.
His ball handling today was phenomenal. He scored touchdowns. He stayed away from turnovers, and when Iowa State needed a drive to secure the win, he got it.
That gives a lot of confidence to your team, too, when the guy can make a play like that. You know you have a quarterback that can do that.
And speaking of Sage, he's on the sidelines with Chris.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Hey, the pendulum has shifted in this series. It's now 3 wins in a row for the Cyclones, mainly because of this guy, Sage Rosenfels. How sweet is it?
It's the best win of my life. This is huge for the Cyclones, for Coach Mack, for everybody that's a Cyclone fan. This is huge, and to me, this reaffirms this is the Cyclone state now, and tides have changed, and this game was huge. We really pulled out our offensive line, controlled that fourth quarter. We haven't played well in the second half. We put up almost 500 yards and a pretty damn good defense, so we're excited.
All week long, you guys have been saying the right things, but you knew going into this ball game you would be favored. Your impressions of just how you played, you just took over the ball game when you needed to.
Well, we just had to have guys make plays, and J.J. Moses played big for us, and our defense played huge when they needed to, and we just made plays when we needed to. And we've been talking all along that when the time comes to win a ball game, someone's got to make a play, and we made a lot of big plays today.
Talk about your poise in the pocket. Al Harris was saying that. He said, obviously, you're going to try to play next year and play in the NFL, but just talk about your poise today.
I mean, my O-line just did a great job protecting me all day, and the receivers made the right routes. We made the right reads, and the coordinators and the offensive quarterbacks coach made all the right calls, and we just put a great game together. In which we scored more points, but it's a win, and any win, we'll take it.
Talk about being a kid from Eastern Iowa, going to Iowa State, and having the chance to come back here and beat the Hawks.
It's huge for me personally, and I know a lot of guys on the team from Iowa State. We try to tell them, hey, if you're from Texas, this is like Texas A&M. If you're from Florida, this is like Florida State. Play for us today. This is huge for us, and they came through for us today.
That Cy-Hawk trophy looks good over there in Ames. Is it going to stay there for a while?
It'll stay there for a while, and hopefully long after I'm out of Iowa State.
Sage Rosenfels, great game today. Congratulations to you. Guys, let's send it back up to you.
And Sage's older sister, who has suffered from a physical ailment so many years back, said wanted to see the team perform more trick plays so Sage can run the ball more. And there was a lot of deception and a lot of running on Sage's part. And he is our Chevrolet player of the game, and deservedly so, as Iowa State comes in and takes care of business once again against their rival Iowa.